And welcome to Baba Yaga's Dancing Hut, the Witch Hunter. Last session, the party finally confronted the Shadow Beast after a very emotional and tense situation where Ember Cinderborn tried to convince Eleanor that this gift that she'd been given, necklace, was a ruse, and that Baba Yaga is trying to trick that she doesn't mean well for her. And Eleanor refused to believe most of that, but she did seem to pluck up the courage to at least trust you in that this necklace is some sort of maybe control over her. But as she decided, well, just as before she could throw it in, she suddenly stopped in her motions and said that he's going to choose to honor her mother. And yeah, you realize that maybe she can't take this final step on her own. It's like you succeeded in every speech to try and like convince her, and yet it seems as though that is still one final step that needs to be made. And unfortunately, though, Tarek decided that this rift in the hut was dangerous, too dangerous to stick around, and he needed to plug up this leak that's apparently been in the hut. So in the end, he closed off the portals and returned it back to its normal state. After that, he went to go investigate to see if that was the leak and see if that has fixed anything. So he went off towards what he said was the center of the hut, and then you guys asked him what that was, and he said, "As I said, I'll reward you with that knowledge once you find the leak." And with that, he left. In his place, however, a shadow came creeping. Ember, definitely emulating the same emotions as perhaps Senrith himself all those years ago, or months ago, when, of course, Natasha was here. And the actual Natasha, or the other Natasha here, seemed to goad and taunt Ember, stating that this is all just history repeating itself. And you destroyed her familiar, Cirrus, and with that, suddenly the shadowy creature appeared. The battle was hard fought. At first, you were engulfed in darkness, then magic began to nullify and sound, and then spiking barbs shot up from the floor. You barely managed to kind of keep track of this creature within the whirling shadows, but finally, kind of cornering it, you at least stunned the creature. And unfortunately, Eridanus, being unconscious at that time, the creature instead leapt into his body and it began a tug of war, some sort of soul within him as he was trying to rip it out or perhaps even take control of it. Eridanus, you were like fighting back, and with a combined effort of Tanner as well, finally unleashing the light that Dawn had placed within the shield, manifesting it as an image of Sinvala beckoning him out of that darkness. You kind of pulled Senrith out of the shadow, pulling the soul out of you, Eridanus, and in that same moment, felt something being almost burnt away, like a great light eclipsed the void within you and consumed it. And with that, you began to heal Senrith, bring him back to life, and ask him a few questions about what happened. Uh, he was in not very good state to talk. His throat has been like all cut up. So you dragged him off towards the bathhouse where he is slowly recovering. And that's where we left off. So he's submerged into the bath, and you can see his wounds already beginning to heal slowly, but perhaps at least his voice might come back. sooner than later. You guys can also feel free to take a short rest at this point.
Yep.
Thank you. Will do.
And over the course of the short rest, if you have any questions for him,
I do. I don't. If he's able to talk, I do have a couple of questions for him. Say, are you
kind of clears his throat. Yes,
are you feeling up to answering a few things? We do have a lot of questions about. Well, there's been a lot going on since you've been gone.
I imagine there is. Feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer them.
Okay. Do you know how long you've been gone? What was the last thing you remember as yourself?
Last thing I remember was, Ember, he came into my cell. He told me to let go. He told me to effectively give up. That it was gonna be okay or something. I remember you placing a blade to my throat.
When that happened, there were some black spikes that came out of you. Do you know what those were?
I've lived with them for as long as I can remember. This creature inside of me tries to pierce its way out, puncturing me till it can rip free. I don't know if it is me turning inside out or if there's some sort of demon involved, but it's been like this ever since. Well, coming here to the hut.
That wasn't always a part of you? We thought that it was, or at least I thought it was part of your nature to have that dark side contained and kept in balance. But you're saying it's a new thing.
Let me see if I can correct myself. It is both new and it is always there. What I mean is, my first memories are of being here in the hut. I know I must have been here. I must have been elsewhere before I came, but those memories are lost to me. So, in a sense, that has always been the case. This balance between light and dark. I
And
cannot tell you what I was before then.
You were something though? You weren't born in the hut?
No. My duties began the moment I kind of awoke here. And Baba Yaga effectively took me into her servitude.
What about your siblings, your companions, Dawn and Night? Are they the same as you, or?
Tanner dives over.
Siblings? Not thought of them as siblings before. But I suppose they are, like...
brothers in arms?
They are definitely close relations, it seems.
Hmm.
Dawn, Night... They were already here. They taught me what it means to serve under Baba Yaga. Told me of the thin line that we must walk. Dawn is a honorable paladin. I believe he was a man once in a distant kingdom. His past is also strangely shrouded. better word, perhaps blinded now, but
Well,
I know he has had a life outside of the hut.
From the light he produces, it doesn't surprise me. But what does surprise me is the fact that somebody of his stature was brought in by Baba Yaga. From my experience, she doesn't really take kindly to paladins.
Indeed.
Unless I'm a one-off.
No. Dawn, however, was clearly desperate for something. He didn't come here to slay Baba Yaga. He came here to make a bargain.
Mm.
I'm not sure exactly what that was, but seems his service is an eternal one in payment for this.
Sounds like a familiar story around here.
Mm-hmm. Once you're in service of Baba Yaga, it's quite hard to escape her grasp. She is always someone you will owe something. And maybe she doesn't enact it now, but I can assure you, she always remembers her debts. She will come to collect one day, even if you come and go from the hut. She will keep her tab. I believe you have all come here for a reason as well. She asked of a price.
Well, I'll be honest, I offered something in exchange for her service. And I'm not convinced she's filled her end of the bargain, so I'm not sure where we are on that end.
Hmm.
Something to be discussed later. But before we can get to that point, for me at least, before we get into the question of recompense and repayment, we still have quite a number of things to do.
Things she's asked you to do?
Things her people have asked us to do.
Hmm.
Now that I think about it, I'm not clear if that's within our purview. Why we were charged with defeating certain monsters. The first time we were sent off on a quest to clean up one of her messes, we were told it was a test to prove that we were worthy. Now, I'm not so sure. I just feel like we're janitors doing the work for free. I'm not sure I like it.
Had
You,
similar experience. I had to do
yes,
many tasks. Some I did not enjoy.
no. And you don't remember what your bargain was or how you would fulfill it.
I had nowhere else really to go, but she offered me a place here, and I did think about leaving a few times,
Mm.
but I was also charged with protecting Natasha. She was one of Baba Yaga's favored daughters. It was an important job. It was a duty, but one of the first jobs that I didn't regret or resent having to do. Natasha was a bright and intelligent individual. She still is.
And
I don't
that's
know
when
where she.
your feelings developed.
Yes, we became close.
Do you know where she is now?
I can have a few guesses. I could sense she always wanted to flee the nest. She was always She always said that she felt like she was destined for more. The Baba Yaga was perhaps holding her back. She was delegated to lobotomizing rats for a long period of time. I think that was perhaps the straw that broke the camel's back. She just decided to make her leave, but she found her attempt stunted very quickly. And that's when I realized she was being held here against her own will.
How many daughters does Baba Yaga have?
Actual
His
daughters? Or...
eyes kind of shift to you, Dyer, and he remains silent for a good few seconds. And then he says, I suppose it depends on the context.
Hmm.
Well,
How many
associations of Natasha's caliber?
children she's adopted, I think is
Mm.
probably...
Of the adopted kind, too.
Oh, that's good. Well, at least that makes it easier. We're not finding bodies.
Of the other kind, I cannot.
You know what need she might have for a small child?
He looks
Girl,
down.
small girl. It should be.
Yes, a small female child.
He looks down at the water, and you can all roll an insight check.
And no
Okay.
good.
Not great, everyone. Not great at all. Seems to choke for a moment, like cough. He seems uncomfortable for a moment. That's what you can really tell with a 13 there, Tanner. As though he's having trouble putting it into words, or maybe he doesn't want to answer it. I can only imagine bad thing.
You must surely know something. You've... Well, how long have you been courting with Natasha?
Don't call it that. I mean, her bodyguard, not courting her.
How long you been
The
slamming that? Go out for a fist bump.
I will give you a sly fist bump on the side.
Alright,
Yep.
sweet.
Ember will just start laughing.
Perhaps a more pertinent question. Why would they need to wait until the child is 13 years old?
Plate is hot.
And apparently the plate is hot.
Yeah,
Good to
Snog is
know.
delivering some food. And, yeah, some dinner in the bath. Okay, so he's, again, kind of looks down again.
Fuck, that plate is hot.
I think that's what she said, yeah. These hags that dwell here, they have obviously lived very long. But they do eventually fade, shall I say. Some of them are killed by adventure. Some of them are sent off. But new ones always seem to crop up. New ones are taken under Baba Yaga's tutelage or service. There is almost seemingly an endless supply of But what I
So-
haven't seen in my time here is someone young grow old and haggard. I have not seen someone age into a hag.
Really?
No.
You saying that through some sort of process they're going to turn her into a hag, sort of skip that aging process, perhaps?
You've seen the skeletons. Seen the bones, haven't you?
We've seen a number.
I
Not
haven't,
necess-
but I've not been here that long.
Are you talking about
Hmm.
the shoe?
Not that one.
The ones
The
in the
museum.
museum?
Those are adult-sized bones. No, the other one.
Tanner, I don't think you're gonna like this.
I know I'm not.
No, we
Sorry,
haven't
sorry.
seen children's bones. I don't. Well, there were some to the west of the museum when we found a secret door actually in that room. Is that what you're referring to?
He nods.
A number
Yeah,
of
that
small
was.
skeletons with
I'll be
what
happy
appeared
to.
to be guardians who had died in their service. Is that what you're speaking about? We thought they
believe
had
they are
died in
children.
some sort of battle.
No, those ones are simply trophies. The others are more hidden away, not for display. The one
Yes.
which you can see with the eye of the beholder
Mm-hmm.
it is a gem of true seeing. And of course, those bones are most likely children's bones.
Why children? Would she bring a child here just to kill it? What would be the point of that?
Hmm. I don't think it's as simple as that either. I cannot tell you the details of whatever ritual or magic they perform here, but I know it involves bringing a child here and sometimes letting the child go back as well. There's some strange things I've seen. It really does depend. Some are case by case.
What happens to the
But-
ones who stay?
That would be the first. This one you've just seen. Let me
Yes,
try and
potential, Senrith. I tried to give her a
potentially.
spell book. See if she
Well,
could learn. Gaia wouldn't let me.
well, it might not be that she has potential more than the others. It might just be that she is too young for whatever purpose they have in mind. After all, they were planning to wait till she was 13. There must be some significance to that age. They were keeping
You
her in they were keeping
can roll
her
an
in an
arcana check.
unconscious state.
Okay. So I don't know the significance of that, but I can probably tell you where to find out. Fortunately, I don't think you're going to be welcome in there. But Baba Yaga's personal chambers, I've seen them. Yeah, filled to the brim with ancient tomes, forgotten lore, and most likely unholy ritual. There is most likely something in there that will shed light on it.
Probably not crud.
Can you give us
Hmm.
a bit more of a specific idea of what to look for?
Ritual books, something perhaps to do with transmutation. There's a lot of them in there.
Okay.
That thing, crud, you just mentioned. Yes. Seems to be a powerful item of transmutation, able to turn mundane items into magical ones, or magical ones into improved ones. They always seem to be tainted. Of, I've seen her use it to create gifts. I've seen her use it to create effigies and hexes. Whatever that thing is, it lives a vile, cursed existence. I'm not even sure what it is, but I can tell you this. It's not a demon, devil, or even celestial being.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It cursed Grizz and I, made us unable to. Yes, the cauldron. Unable to really resist the urge of gold. It made us greedy beyond reason. It was that creature's a bit of a jerk. He probably thought it was funny. It wasn't funny.
Hmm. Perhaps that's the only enjoyment it can glean from this place.
Yeah, you try that again.
It's, nor is it an elemental or aberration. Or an undead. Basically, you get the impression he's cast Detect Evil and Good around it before. And that can tell you whether it's one of these things.
Senrith, now that Terig has broken the Dorvu's breath, the portal contained within, how would if I need to destroy something like Crud or something else, perhaps, how would I go about doing so? Magical, of course. Dispel something very powerful or something cursed.
You wish to destroy it?
Crud? No. Well, yes, sure, Crud, yes.
Uh, no idea. Pour salt on it.
I mean, poor soul. That's it?
I thought that
More
was
of
an
a
old
stab in
wives'
the
tale.
dark. Its form is rather amorphous, slug-like.
Oh, I see what you mean. I didn't actually mean Crud. I'm not so comfortable talking about this to you because you've kind of gone through it yourself, but if there was a certain pendant I wish to destroy, that's kind of more what I was getting at. I was kind of hoping you'd read between the lines there and not make me fucking say it.
Destroying Eleanor's. See.
Yes.
Yes, that was a arduous process. Took a few attempts, in fact, to dispel the charm-like effect on it. Only then was I able to safely pry it from, well, Natasha was able to pry it from herself. Though the rest I am unsure of. I know she was able to access another world. Been studying and reading it for a long time. Under the purview of Kesserat's gaze, he's a brilliant mind, but he may have gone too far with his findings, his research.
Yeah,
There are
we had
some
quite
things that
the
are
encounter with him.
indeed. There are some things that are better left undiscovered. Either way, she found a way to use the powers of the hut, the power source here, was in a marvel in of itself. But I believe Baba Yaga was teaching her how to master it slowly, subtly. Perhaps Baba Yaga didn't realize that Natasha had a better grip on it than what she suspected, or than what she was preparing her for. I have no idea if she was going to offer it or make her use it, like in the same way Terig has, but either way, I know that both Eleanor and Natasha are being uh, taught something a way to master this uncontrollable power. The power of the hut itself, whatever it is.
Is the power of the hut distinct from Baba Yaga herself? I thought they were one and the same.
He nods. That is a question of the ages, though. Perhaps the power has been in her possession for so long that it is an extension of her. Or maybe she did what she has done to Crud, twisted it, corrupted it, and forced it to her will.
I would have thought it
So-
would be similar to, well, the shield rises up behind Tanner, like an attunement item, something that she studied, and it's just, of course, a lot bigger than your mundane item.
That is perhaps, yes, a simpler way of looking. But if the heart itself is an item, that means it can be wielded, means it can be directed to do certain things.
And, it
And
could
as
be
you can see,
destroyed.
it is almost like a cage, something that you cannot really escape from very easily.
Baba Yaga
think
have any
I'm-
idea what Natasha was planning? That she wasn't as fully loyal as she was pretending to be?
She perhaps she always wanted to outsmart her. Perhaps that was her goal, to begin with at least.
Mm.
And in doing so, she granted herself freedom, something that she has not yet experienced in her time here. And I suppose now she's exercising that freedom. She's now unhindered, able to practice her own magic in whatever direction she sees. She was always quite fond of Shadow.
Sorry, always quite fond of shadows or
Shadows.
Shadow? Okay.
Shadow magic. I taught her some myself.
How
It's
did you
not something. Go on.
No, please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's not something she was really deemed necessary to learn. I believe Kesseras had her learning planes, conjuration, and well, divination. Those were supposed to be her subjects.
How,
What was your question?
Yeah, I don't mean to change the subject. I kind of was hoping that you. How did you end up unbalanced? How did you end up as a shadow of sorts, the shadow beast? How did you lose yourself? If it wasn't for me saving you, you'd still be there right now.
I've asked the question of myself many times, and though I did not have the answers, Dawn was able to guide me in some sense. He
Pardon
told me
me?
that I had a divinity, but it had forsaken me.
Ember just kind of side eyes Tanner. Go on.
Dawn says that he draws his power from the light itself, from a god, Helios.
Helios.
To know that God's name is everything. It is his faith. It is his being. But I don't remember a god. I don't remember any that would have given me power, or why I would have even been worthy of it.
I don't understand. How does this involve you becoming a shadow, splintered?
Because, to Ember, the absence of light is shadow. So when that left me, a shadow was cast over. Baba Yaga realized this. She taught me how to wield it. But that only went so far. I feel like she perhaps drew it out more. And to master it, well, that's where Knight. But his lessons were not easy. Whereas Dawn was more of a guiding hand, Knight was more like a whip at my back.
So eventually, the shadow magic became too strong for you to control
Was,
it without the divine hand.
I'm not sure
It
if the void can ever be truly controlled. It seems to have a will almost of its own. Maybe not a sentience, but just a will to destroy everything, unmake everything.
Hmm.
That kind of power is difficult to direct. Think of it as like firing an arrow, but that arrow fires in every direction possible. It doesn't just want to focus on one target, it seeks to annihilate everything. It's something that is very hard to keep in check. Once you have access to that power, it's not something you own, but rather something you try to contain and unleash in a direction. It is difficult, nonetheless. But I did master some practices of it. I'm still learning how to wield it, how to keep it in check.
Yeah, you screwed up for sure.
But Dawn said that he could perhaps help, and he shared some of his own light, carry that with me, and he kind of like points to his mask and sections of his armor as well, like which is probably not on him right now, but he kind of points to it on the chair, and says, he told me to seek out something that could well, contain that light so that I could use it to contain the shadow. If I was able to do that, then I could potentially master both in a sense. And I sought for many, many years, traveling both in and out of the hut, from plane to plane. I eventually came across a labyrinth-like ruin. There was a behemoth-like creature guarding it, at the center of which I found this material. Some sort of black-like stone or ore. Its ability to absorb light, unlike anything I'd witnessed till then. It was like an obsidian.
It's insensitive. This here. I'll show the 4 pieces that I have, which I've already showed it. As I have.
There's still some left.
Mm.
That is what I brought back. Vaughn forged it. I created my own weapons, my own armor. That armor is almost like a container of itself. As long as I wear it, I am able to keep that shadow mostly in check. Now, when I was placed inside that chamber, without my armor, you can imagine the torture. Every day, it trying to stab its way through my skin. That wasn't just an embarrassment that she was trying to inflict on me by having me locked up in with the other animals and monsters. No, that was a torture as well. She knew what she was doing.
Why would she do such a thing if she wanted to use your power? Just as punishment? Seems short-sighted.
I took the one thing, or one of the one things, that she truly cared most about in this world. I had never seen her so angry before. Sometimes she can come off as nonchalant. I've seen her point a finger and wave and disintegrate others as a means of punishment. But never has she really lost her temper, like the day Natasha Sinvala managed to escape. I believe she was of great importance to her. Or perhaps she truly did love her daughter. Who's to say? Baba Yaga keeps most of her cards very close to her chest.
Hmm. Who's to say? Maybe it's a type of love, not something I would have, not what I would have called it, based on everything we've learned. But well, who knows? It just surprises me that she would go to the trouble of bringing you in, knowing that you were unstable in the hut, and then entrapping you in such a terrible manner, but also a dangerous manner. With you in the hut, with your dark side. For such a creature who's always has so many pieces moving at the same time on the chessboard. Maybe she's losing it. Maybe she lost it.
Like I said, she had definitely given into an emotion, for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's very... it's an interesting
furious.
weakness. And did she intend to keep you there indefinitely? Knowing that you were struggling and that you might not always succeed?
I think perhaps she would have pulled me out of there before I finally was ripped apart from the inside out.
Hmm.
That would have averted, well, that whole
Disaster.
that whole problem. But I don't think she foresaw Ember coming in and giving it the final push.
No, that was curious. Did you?
I
I don't suppose you know who sent Ember the message to come kill you.
What? Wait,
Hmm.
you were told to kill me?
Daya, hang on. What are you doing here?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ember, but we didn't even know who you were, where you were.
Yeah.
And I remember all of a sudden Ember got this crazed purpose in his eye, and he insisted that he had to come and kill you, that he had to. But he's never been able to explain why or how he knew that you were here, why you had to die. It was
Well, leave me alone. Go away. Don't worry about it.
He
Tanner,
does come
Tanner.
closer to you. Who told
Not-
you to?
I keep
Who
getting
told
sent to
you to
this
kill me?
token down here. Sorry, Chris. Can you delete this token for me? It's
it-
screwing up my UI.
Oh yeah.
It's the second one
Wait a
that's causing me.
Oh, yeah.
No one told me to kill you. It was a choice. Don't worry. Why? What's it to you? Get away from me.
Ember, we're not blaming you. We're trying to understand.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Where did the idea come from? The impulse. It's
Self-preservation, Daya.
well,
I was gonna die if I didn't kill him. Yes?
Make a wisdom saving throw.
ooh, yes please.
I'm just pinging the spell in.
You just
Oh, never mind. I don't have any spell slots, so ignore that. Fuck, that would have been so cool.
Yeah, you got
That's so sad.
brained.
Oh no.
Yeah,
so Tanner just says make a wisdom saving throw. It makes no sense to you, but
What?
He like Jess from Girl, and she's like zone of truth.
but
Like,
I
doesn't
would
actually count.
suggest that you make a wisdom saving throw,
Oh,
or that I command you to make a wisdom saving.
what is going on?
Wait, can I actually tell them, or is that more a physical thing?
That is a verbal thing. I could get him to stand still if you wanted.
Similar to command. Yeah, but I can't, because suggestion is more that where command is more like do this or do that. I can't say tell the truth as a command, can I?
No,
It
you
lasts
have
6
to pick one.
seconds. Well,
It's one, yeah. First of all, it's only 6 seconds, and secondly, it's one word.
You can get a lot of information out in
Yeah,
6 seconds.
it's
I mean,
mostly
you
a.
can certainly try.
I don't want.
I thought you
I'm
meant the
reading
actual
this
component of the spell. The component is like you have to speak some
no.
word.
It's what
But
I
yeah.
get out of it. God damn it. Okay, yeah. So that failed. My bad.
You basically get to tell. You basically command them to do a singular act or a lack of action. If it's like halt.
I'll use compelled duel instead and fight him to the death for the information.
Wow.
Either way,
Fuck that,
it does look like
We'll just have to
Tanner
go to the kitchen, get him drunk, and then do his zone of truth.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, snag. Ding, ling, 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 ling.
The day's almost over.
You-
It's almost
you-
bedtime.
You want to call out for Snake?
Yeah.
Okay, call out. Sure. So wait.
No. Alright.
You call out for Snag, and instead, you do hear something coming down the corridor, and Chris is like, "Oh, I think he heard you." And the footsteps get quite heavy, as it happens.
Mhm.
And you can hear kind of a kind of clang, clang. And there is suddenly a shadow that kind of appears over the door. And it
Is it Vorn?
Is it Zankiri shaped?
it is almost as big as probably bigger than Zankiri, come to think of it. But it's also very hard to see when it literally is like almost enveloped in shadow. And Senrith kind of looks around for a moment like, the hell? And all the lights in this room kind of go out.
Oh,
They
Lord.
just extinguish.
Wow.
What happened?
If have we recovered any health during this period from the bath?
Yeah,
might
I've
be useful
mentioned
to
you
us
guys.
in the next next few minutes.
I did mention you guys have had a short rest, so this has been like an hour talking
Yeah,
with.
but no actual from the bath itself, like no.
Oh, the
magic
bath itself, right? Yeah, good shout. Oh, I forgot to do that. Let me
Yes,
just check
please.
something.
Free healing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need more help. if something bad cometh this way, then use all the
Oh,
health I can get here.
yes, okay, found it. Everyone heals for 12.
Okay,
Yay.
great.
That's awesome.
I think that put me on full. Nice.
Go.
I'm nowhere near full, but even if I use the rest of my hit dice, I wouldn't be much closer. So
I'll heal Grizz.
Okay.
There you go,
Um,
Grizz.
I'm not dead.
What
I'll take
it's
it.
supposed to be is like basically whenever you roll for a hit dice, you double the dice. So you instead of like 1d8, 2d8. But I'm just going to do that
Oh.
for a quick. I'm just going to do that for a quick amount of healing in this instance. It depends. You have to have that optimal temperature. Sometimes it's like a nice amount. Sometimes it's even more. But yeah, regardless. Okay, so this shadow manifests at the door. The lights in the bathhouse kind of go out, and even the steam sort of becomes less steamy and more like a mist,
Yeah.
like kind of
Are we
low
done with
hanging
this,
fog.
Tanner?
What's happening?
Senrith, do you know what that is?
Snow?
I do.
Hey, get your armor on,
That's not
Tanner.
snow.
I'm naked. Oh!
Into the chamber, clang, clang,
night.
Oh, please tell
is
me he's
a
naked and he's got like a little bath
He's
robe
a little
around.
towel.
Yeah.
yes,
Just
and
thrown
a
over
rubber
his shoulder.
ducky and a shower cap. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some flip
No, he
flops.
doesn't.
Yeah.
He does have a full set of plate mail in a dark black armor. He has in one hand a longsword, and in the other, he's kind of got this kind of swirling shadow that is like swimming between his fingertips, and he clenches it tight. And as the lights kind of all extinguish, seem to look and scan around the room.
Semrith, you were on good terms with Dawn when you left, right? Or
With Dawn,
Night, sorry. Night.
yes. Night, not so much.
Back from the Gloom Glen, ain't I?
His eyes meet with Senrith and Ember. You feel like even your light is slightly dimmed. You've kind of like shrouded your flame a little bit. And he speaks out and says,
The Bone Mother wishes to speak with you, Twilight.
at this point, Senrith says, no doubt to put me back in that prison. Or what? Punish me further? Or eventually breaking? He draws his sword towards him and says,
You're going to come quietly, one way or another. The rest of you, do not interfere.
He begins
Yeah.
marching his way around the bathhouse.
Yeah, no problem. Eh,
Zenith gets up. He hasn't got his armor on, but he does suddenly summon forth two spectral-looking scythe and says, "Like hell, I'm going." And yeah, geez, roll initiative for him and him, and you guys can roll initiative as well, because it looks like this is going to be a fight.
Yep.
what?
Cool. Cool. I don't know.
Don't aim to kill, aim to push them away from each other. That we can settle this.
Right.
Mano a mano. A no dio.
Definitely seems word got out though. Senrith is back. Oh boy.
How come Senrith doesn't have a cool border like Dawn Knight and all the witches?
He hasn't got his full powers back, maybe?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Doesn't
too
got
bad.
his,
He's in the doghouse.
he has been, yeah.
No border.
No border. Damn.
Sad.
Damn, where can I get a cool border like that?
Yeah, I want a cool border.
Okay. It is Eridanus first. You can see Knight is marching his way around the side of the bathhouse. He's completely ignoring the no running in the pool sign. What do you do?
Is the floor where he is wet?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to use shape water to freeze the floor in front of him.
Oh. Okay.
Just trying to
Making
make
it
it
slippery.
slippery.
Yep. Your spell save DC.
That's at the bottom. 16.
Okay. Alright.
Yep.
Oh, yep. Flipping out. Okay.
Yeah.
He does manage to keep balance, even though you can see for a moment, like his foot kind of like squeaks across the floor, and he skids across the ice instead. But yeah, his greaves are definitely like heavy. They probably crack the
Yeah.
ice as he stamps and charges forward. Worth a
Just
shot. Anything
Yeah,
else?
What do I have valued as a bonus action? Not a lot there. I could do that, but that seems a waste. For now, Eridanus will just wait and observe. He's not exactly sure how the party want to play this yet. He wants to help, but
Okay.
he knows, like, by himself, he's probably not a match for Knight.
Grizz is gonna swim, get up, and get in front of Senrith as well. And he's not gonna rage yet. He is gonna pull out his axe and say, "You've done enough to him already. Let him go. He's suffered enough." Yeah, like how much punishment is there to be had? Like, God, he served his sentence. But he's gonna hold his. I think he has to swim. Yeah, so he's gonna have to dash together. Dire, it's your turn. This is all
Okay.
difficult terrain whilst you're in the water.
Yep. I'm gonna do the same as Grizz. I want to move, I guess, half my movement.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'll dash to get right in front of Senrith.
Okay.
And as a bonus action, I would like to get out my whip and hold it.
All right.
Yep. That's me.
Okay. And Ember.
I will spend a sorcery. I have 2 left, apparently. Go down to 1. I will cast Subtle Spell, Cantrip, Message. I'll
Mhm.
point at Senrith, and I'll say the following. Run for Portal Room, Fire Plane, Pyraculum, City of Brass. Tell Vorn Ember sent you. Safe Haven.
Okay. All right. His eyes kind of
okay.
dart towards yours, Ember, and he just gives a nod, acknowledging. Said. He seems quite focused and ready. Okay. It's going to end your turn. It is Senrith's go. He is going to cast... Wait. He wants to run. Roll a persuasion check, Ember.
Yeah, sure.
Because this will determine
I mean, I
what
don't
he
really
actually
care
does.
what he does, but
It's a
but
good idea,
sure.
though. You should do it.
Yeah, I don't
Should
care
get
if he
him-
does it or doesn't. He can do what he wants. If he dies, it's not my whatever, man. But sure, I was just trying to help him out. Give him
Alright.
so he knows where to go. It's for safe haven, but yeah, he can do with that what he wants.
Alright. Okay.
12,
So a
Chris.
12.
I mean, in my
Tell you
mind,
what
this
he's
guy's
gonna
already
do.
dead. I've killed him once already. If he dies again, what changes?
Senrith is going to raise his scythes in the air. As he does, you see beams of light beginning to build up around Knight. And as the blinding flash goes off, you see if they've manifested into like columns of glowing light that slam down around him. 4 of them on each kind of corner. And Knight's gonna have to roll a wisdom saving throw. Oh god. Yep.
He is
That was
very
a tough-
wise.
Very. At this point, Knight has had enough. He swings his swords out and cuts the columns of light with ease. This blade, sort of sheathed in shadow, seems to just sever them and shatter them. And it sounds like almost like a bell being broken and shattered into pieces. Okay. Well, I didn't expect that to work. But maybe just to slow him down. And he is going to back away this way. 5, 10, 15. Maybe running is the best option. 20, 30. Guess you go to there. On the other side of the statue. Okay, Tanner.
Okay. So Tanner's going to 15 swim over, and the animated shield is going to sit right there. And I kind of want to pull a similar trick that I did for Senrith. And I want to try and channel Dawn's light through it.
Okay.
And go on.
No, go.
And I want to try and create that spectral image of Dawn that just says, "Stop wasting time on this world. We are going to need your assistance here in the Feywild. Things have changed here."
Okay.
Give that a go.
Roll a deception check for me.
I was trying to think what to say, and that was the best I could come up with. Let's see. It's a 10.
10?
No.
Okay. He looks to you, and without even like looking at the illusion of Dawn, he just brings out his gauntlet hand, clenches it once again. The image collapses, and it almost turns into a shadowy form of Dawn, almost resembling himself more than anything. And there's this flare from his eyes as he looks towards you. They kind of look like baleful flames, and he tosses the shadowy image of himself back into the shield and says,
You dare use the light against me. I blot out the light. I snuff out The dawn. That divinity is no more. Your light has been expended.
The shield is almost like rattling as his voice booms out like this, and the shadow that he just threw at it is like smashed up against it. It's a kind of wrenching metallic sound,
Can I try
and the shield
resist
kind of,
that?
well, it is not something he's doing against you. He's doing it against your shield.
Yeah, but is there something that I can do to?
It is unfortunate that it would be Dawn resisting it, and Night is quite literally the complete and utter counterpart
Well,
to
yeah,
Dawn.
yeah.
And if anything, they would neutralize one another, which
It's
is
more of a
effectively what he's
stalemate.
just done.
Yeah.
And you feel that light. Really, it does completely and utterly snuff out within the shield.
Fine. Well, I tried.
There is no more light of dawn within it.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I'm just gonna bring the shield next to me then, and just kind of like lean to one side because don't know about you guys, but I don't want to get involved in this.
No, Tanner, has nothing to do with us. Senrith is on his own.
Turns to Senrith and is going to do exactly the same thing against Senrith. This time, instead of light coming down from above, spikes of jagged shadow erupt from around him. And now Senrith needs to roll a wisdom save. Oh god. Yeah, I rolled a 2. And unfortunately, Senrith, being weakened and exhausted as it is, he is unable to resist this. Shadows chain him in place. As he tries to struggle and move against it, he is only pulled tighter, and these spikes almost like impale almost every single limb of his. They kind of spike through his legs, 2 through his arms, at really like horrific angles.
Yeah.
After that, Knight is going to begin marching towards him.
Okay, this is fine. I'm sure this won't have any negative consequences.
Mm,
It's not.
okay. That's his turn. Eridanus, you're up.
Eridanus is going to swim over, having a swim speed, so he can actually do that. Stand
You're-
up and look at Knight and be like, I just got to word this correct. You may embody the shadow of the night, but I embody the stars, and they will pierce through any night. And then I'm going to go into, you know what, let's do this. Let's try to do this. I'm going to go starry form of the Fairy Queen, and say, in the name of Queen Una, you will let him be.
Oh. Are you actually casting a spell? Do you want to you roll an intimidation check?
Do I have anything that I could do that's intimidating in this case? You know what? As a way of doing this, he's probably going to make the save, but as I say this, form into this for my bonus action,
Yeah.
as terrifying as he is, I'm going to my bonus action is obviously to. No, I've gone into the other form, so I can't do that. So my action is going to be. Please say I've got the spell slots left for it. Oh, I've got to do it at 4th level. Does it do anything extra at 4th level? No, it doesn't do anything extra at 4th level. That'd be useful. But I'm not going to place the measure template, but essentially I'm going to try to I'm going to try to knock him over into the water.
James?
With a
dex
tidal
save.
wave. Yep, with a tidal wave.
Okay. Surprisingly agile, even
Damn
in
it.
full plate armor. He is
Why
able
don't
to
I?
quickly
Why
dodge out
don't
of
I
the way
have
of
my
it.
woe abilities? Why don't I have
Mhm.
my woe abilities?
I know.
Like,
Oh.
literally, if I had my Cosmic Omen, I could just... Actually, why is it saying I got my Cosmic Omen? I don't have my Cosmic Omen. I've used that. That's weird. I don't think there's anything else I can do. But he does take half the damage, which it didn't roll, so
Yeah, go ahead.
takes half of 11.
11, 6.
And you said to try to roll intimidation, right?
You can.
Dice don't... Well,
Okay.
that's pretty good.
It's not bad.
However,
Yep.
he says, in retort to that, says,
Ha! I fear no light. The light fears me.
and with that, you gather that he is literally immune to the frightened condition.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Grizz. Oh god, we're far again, aren't we? He's gonna run around. Doesn't know how to free Senrith from those bonds, but he does swipe away with his axe for a moment. It just passes straight through the shadow. No effect. Whatever spell this is, it's something that he can't do. He can't physically break. So instead, he is going to probably once again charge up into the fray. But he's not going to attack him again. He's just going to say, just leave. Leave it be. You'll have to get through us if you want him. Okay, Dire.
All right. I am going to move right up here. 25, 35. All right, let's move here. In a blocking position, and I've got the whip. I'm just gonna crack the whip kind of menacingly. And I want to say to Knight, if she'll do this to your companions, don't you think she'll do it to you too? Think. What has he done? And that'll be my turn.
Okay. He
Not much I can do against magical barriers or magical restraints.
there we go.
But I'm very much addressing Knight and kind of, you don't have to. It doesn't have to go down this way.
I am simply following orders. And my orders are to bring Twilight to the Bone Mother. Don't get in my way.
I'm afraid you leave us
Ember.
little choice.
Yeah. 10, 20, 30.
Yep.
Uh,
Okay. After that,
and-
you're on solid ground now.
what are you guys doing? Get out of his way! This is our fight! We don't know Senrith anything! What are you doing? I'm going to just... take the dodge.
I'm gonna look at Ember in response. I need answers from him, so I'm not
Wait,
letting...
everything we need! Stop!
You
Stop
got
interfering!
what you need. I have not. Now silence.
And I'm...
Coward.
Take the dodge action.
Ooh.
Yeah, I may be a coward, but you're gonna be a dead fool! And I
Better
will
a
take the
dead
dodge
fool
action.
than a coward.
Okay. Jeez. Senrith is going to struggle and try to break free. He might actually do it. It's going to be the end of his turn, however. Oh,
Ooh.
yep.
Yes.
With that, Eridanus, with that impassioned speech there, Senrith yanks against the chains enough to bring his scythe against his chest, and then he pulls them away and slices chains away. There's this kind of slash of light and a glint that breaks the light shadows into pieces. Turns around, you can see there's already several little jutting spikes coming out of his own back. But he seems to like, as he breathes in, they sort of like retract back away. He's able to control it. But that is at the end of this turn. It looks like it took his whole being to try and resist that effect.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't had any movement at all?
No, it's at the end of his turn, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tanner.
I am quite literally naked, so I am not equipped for this shit at all.
You have your shield and sword. That's perhaps it. Yeah, he's kind of caught you with your pants down. That's not. Let's be
Yeah,
real. You can get up this side, but it will require an athletics check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
20.
you're fine. You can get up. It's a bit of movement, an extra 5 foot to get up, and you do climb up the side.
So I'll just call over. Knight, just think this through. Can't he just rest? He's been in prison for so long. Perhaps you can organise a meeting with the Bone Mother, where they can talk this out, rather than being dragged away against his will.
The best soldiers do not think, they obey. Something that this one has been failing to do.
Points his sword accusatively towards Enrith.
However, a lieutenant assists. Surely you are a word of reason to Baba Yaga. She trusts you so much.
Roll a persuasion check, Tanner. And, yeah.
23.
Whoa.
Big boy numbers now.
That is actually not bad.
Where was that with my deception check?
Yeah. That does seem to... He seems like he doesn't have a rebuttal for this. He pulls his sword away from Senrith and actually turns his whole shoulders and waist in your direction and faces you.
Uncover waist down by my shield.
Yeah. Helping yourself. And instead starts to march towards you. Grizz is going to hold off from making an attack of opportunity, as he doesn't know what's about to go down here. And he goes up to you, Tanner. He says,
Do you care to explain to her then? Perhaps you wish to take responsibility.
I can't take responsibility for actions that are not mine. However, surely he deserves a trial. Or deserves, well, a proper chance for survival. I understand you're only doing your job, however, he's already served. Surely there must be use of him now, and perhaps he's willing to obey. And I look over towards Senrith.
so there's almost a lull in the battle for a moment as these words are kind of coming back and forth. Doesn't seem to be taking any more action against Senrith, and Senrith is kind of like edging away, and he turns back, seeing him sort of like trying to get away.
Says, don't move. A trial, you say?
Turns back towards you, Tam.
We're more than welcome to be within the audience for this. So if Baba Yaga may have any questions that we can answer, by all means. However, We were told to hunt the shadow. We defeated said shadow, and we released Senris. We're already deemed honor of something for doing our job.
Put your armor on, Paladin.
Thank you. Just... I'm going to be a few minutes unless you could help me with my buckles. No? Okay. Alright, thank you.
Yeah.
He awkwardly awaits, and then
Everyone's just sitting there.
Everyone just face to the wall.
10 minutes.
This is
later.
awkward.
He's still staring at me. I just pick
Oh
up my
my
armor. It's
God.
like, avert your eyes.
Oh god.
A good 10 minutes is just an awkward him getting it on.
Everyone's saying nothing.
Yeah, just the
Causes
silence.
the starry
uh,
form to fade because it only lasts 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then just a clang, 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 clang.
And afterwards, finally, you're armored up, and he says,
All of you, follow me.
and he marches through this door.
I'll assume the rest of us also got dressed in that 10 minutes. Just...
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
You towel off. And the
During that
crew
10 minutes, could I just fire Senrith another message like, told you, you should have ran. I had tried to help you out.
I feel like you guys have my back, and I'm actually better off sticking with you than I am running off alone. But if I get the opportunity, I'll try and not be a burden to you anymore.
Right. You're
Okay.
pain in the
Um,
ass.
As the group walks past, I'll just kind of subtly under my breath just say, sorry.
This is okay. This might work. I'll message him. Everything I do would be a message just to avoid occasions. Bird by night, if possible.
Okay.
And I'll scowl at Eridonis. Choose your words more carefully. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh no, I'm in a maze.
Neither do
You're-
you. Was
I got
Obi
mazed.
Eridanis' only response.
It's amazing.
So for a good few minutes, he leads you up the stairs. Actually, funnily enough, it's actually very close. So he goes up the stairs, up a second set of spiral stairs, and then finally into the kind of grand hall where you guys have left like your own statues and works of art. And eventually, he approaches he waits for you guys to all get up to the top, and then he walks around, goes towards the set of large black double doors, and pushes them open with no exertion on his part, even though they do look very hard, like heavy. And he steps in, and then steps to the side, looks at you all and says, or well, rather just beckons you in, and to enter. As you enter into this chamber, you see there are a number of black-seated, kind of leather chairs. In the center is this massive, long table, carved of some sort of like black crystal. Around the room, there are plaques with animal heads, and there are glass cabinets with weapons. There are several bookshelves as well as like an easel with another book on it as well. And at the head of the table, there is another large crystal black throne, skulls on either side of its armrest. And there's a bottle of wine actually set out on the table that Eleanor has. Yep, Eleanor is here, as well as Zankiri, who is stood with arms kind of folded in front of him, his shield on his back, geode by the side. He is clearly still watching over Eleanor in this time. And yeah, he sees you enter. Oh, didn't expect to see you guys here. And Eleanor's like, oh, Tanner, Diet, Ember.
We're here for a trial. Have you seen, where's Maya or Mia or M-child, the little one?
She's okay. She's fine in my chambers.
Been a close eye on her. Great to see you again, too, Elena. I hope you're doing well. I hope Zankiri isn't being too much of a idiot.
I'm
I clap
doing
him
my
around the back of
job.
my head.
Good. Keep doing it. There's plenty more platinum where that came from.
Did you just take a seat at the other head of the table there?
Absolutely. Yeah, the tail. Absolutely.
I love it.
God.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you just pull out the chair and sit down.
Yep.
The rest of you can follow in. Knight's shoulder is placed. Sorry, Knight's hand is placed on Senra's shoulder, and he steers him towards this seat here, and like pushes him down into it. Grizz kind of like, this one okay?
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Just sit there.
Knight closes the double doors behind him and heads to the south of the room. At which point, you see him open this door and say a few words into the distant in Abyssal. And a moment later, well,
And that's not one I speak.
Either. Wait,
No.
Hang on.
no.
what do I speak? No, I speak stupid Nazi language. Nope.
Sorry, which language?
Abyssal.
Abyssal. No.
Damn.
Demon
No?
tongue rather than the devil tongue.
None of you speaks it. Okay,
Nope.
all right.
Actually makes sense because none of us would have a reason to speak it.
Yeah, not a chance.
There is a smell of strange herbal-like perfume in the air. Almost borderline kind of musty, but it kind of smells of scents that you have never really smelled before. It reminds you of the Feywild. And as the door opens, you see stepping in, hunched over, long grey hair braided with tiny trinkets and hook bones interweaved in the braids, hanging from her sunken shoulders. Her
Oh,
gnarled
no.
fingers clasp the back of the chair, and the chair kind of turns, spins, and kind of catches her in it as Baba Yaga, the Bone Mother, steps in and takes a seat.
We're in so much trouble.
Holy shit.
Her face is a glare, a stern stare at all of you. Grizz looks around and quickly sits down on the chair. Eleanor actually stands up for a moment as she enters, and then as
I was
Baba
gonna say,
Yaga
as
is-
she enters, like, I would have stood for the arrival at least.
yeah, that's it.
I
yeah,
will. I
that's
would.
what she
I will
does.
also have stood while she comes in, and I won't sit down till she sits down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Eridanis does not.
He
He
does.
just watches her enter.
She does so with like a heavy thump into the chair. The first thing she does is let out a long, drawn-out sigh.
Before it starts, would we be able to take a 5-minute
Yeah.
break? I think that would be
Yeah.
the perfect time for it.
Sure, I think
Oh
so.
my
Yeah,
God,
just as you see Knight sheathing his sword, Zankiri's looking very nervous. He's kind of gritting his teeth. But Eleanor is just kind of like taking a chug of the wine for the looks. We will catch you guys after the break. We're gonna go get a 5-minute drink, stretch our legs before
Cool.
we sit down for this trial, so to speak. See you in a bit. And welcome back. Alright, the party have just sat down in the dining room, the dining hall of Baba Yaga herself. You sit before her knowing there are a great many topics to bring up and talk about. The first of which of the agenda seems to be Senrith, as he is looking nervously towards her. And she raises her hands up to her temples, and with these long claw-like nails, seems to be massaging her head, letting out a long, drawn-out sigh. The claws look like they're enough to like pierce flesh, but as she kind of massages them around, it's like her skin is like almost another suit of armor on itself, almost like hide or leathery armor. She kind of like pushes it around. Before we get started, maybe
Snark!
something new. Exactly. Snurg.
Wine! Let's go! Wine! Meat! Come on, Snark! Let's go! See? I've learned the ways. What do I call you, anyways? The maiden of the house? What do you go by? I'm Amber Cinderborn, as you know well, but I'm sure you have a title you prefer.
She looks all the way across
Oh,
the end of the
mother.
table.
Or just mother, perhaps.
Mother is adequate for now. Snug, there you are. My faithful little servant. I would like you to go fetch my favorite. And, whatever these fine guests wish to have. This might be their last supper.
Yeah, not likely.
So, do pick well. Snug looks around the room. Yes, mother, what would you like, everyone? And he pulls out a little clipboard. He's wearing his butler outfit. And he
Yeah,
has little
Snark.
notes on.
I'll take some of the non-spiced wine, please. I need my wits about me.
Okay.
And some.
Yes.
How about some pork, Snurg? It'd be very nice. With maybe a
Pork,
little spider au jus.
Oh, very
Not-
good. Very good, sir. We have plenty of pork. Any sides?
Unnecessarily gruesome, member?
Setting the tone, Daya.
I mean, yeah, your heads are on the line here. I'll bring the full pig.
You're the one who has to eat it.
And Grace, he orders up a hearty, probably meal of red meats and maybe cheeses. I imagine he wants cheese. Tanner?
Probably like a soft mead.
Okay.
Most paladin answer ever.
Okay, yes. Anything else just yet?
And some cheese and crackers.
Okay, I'll bring out a whole platter. And Eridanus?
I'll just have water and cheese
will.
and crackers down to it.
Oh, cannibal?
I was gonna say.
What the hell?
No, Bobby,
I
I've
don't
read
eat
probably.
fire, Aerodotus. What's wrong with you?
I'm a living
Okay.
creature. I still require water to survive.
I know that.
And, Shenrith, what would you like? The same as Tanner. Although, I'll trade up the mead for a cider. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're it. And, oh, no, none for you, none. She's gonna sidles past. Eleanor, more wine, please, Snug. Okay, coming right up. And Jaya.
A white wine, please. And some,
Okay.
finger sandwiches would be nice. Nothing too complicated.
Would that be the literal fingers? Because we do serve those.
The little finger-sized sandwiches, darling.
Oh,
Vegetarian.
side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I can
Right
imagine
away.
Di is the kind of person to have the crust cut off.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
She eats very, very delicately. It's very refined.
Eats them with a
So
knife and
Snug goes over how to prepare all this. Meanwhile,
He has magic. He'll be fine. Presumably.
we are still missing one, but I'm sure he will be here in his own time.
Ah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Now, how to address the thieves? What should we call you?
hey, that's terribly insulting.
Trespassers.
Oh god, we haven't got a name for our group, have we?
And the jailbreakers as well. We'll call you that.
I mean, to be fair, I wasn't here for any of that. Maybe the trespass, possibly, but the rest, no.
No, we were
Yes.
here. We've been here with permission the entire time, and we've been
Well, you
obeying
have.
your
I
orders
just,
for
I
most
just
of
sort of
this.
followed you, so.
Quite well
And the thief was actually caught.
by us.
My ass, of course, yes.
Before we get into the details of this and that, Knight, I only asked you to bring Senrith here, but I suppose we might as well address them all whilst we're here. I do have to decide this one's fate. He says that you are going to be his defendants, or well, something of that ilk. Is this to be a
Well,
trial then?
I think
I've
we're
always
just
wanted
here to
to,
make sure that everything is done fairly, that he's treated with respect for what he's done and what he's given up, what he's endured.
That is curious idea.
Hmm.
Respect.
the rule of law always triumphs over chaos. The way of places is determined by, well, the trial is the ultimate flame, if you will, to test law. I would be very excited to take part in something like this. I could learn so much.
No, I'm more meant. It's curious giving someone respect for someone who has shown total lack whilst within my home.
Well, that's certainly your interpretation, but I see things very much differently. We've been nothing but respectful. We've been the perfect house guests, and it's insane to assert anything less of that. I don't know what you're on about.
If you're
You have
speaking of
made a
Fenris,
mockery of my hospitality.
That is completely untrue. Objection.
I wish I had a gavel, but I suppose this will
There
suffice.
you get that spiritual weapon.
She, instead of pulling out a gavel, pulls out a rather large pestle, which actually enlarges and enlarges until it's like way too big to be just a normal one on the table, like with a a normal alchemy-sized one. It's more like a club at this point, and she slams it on the table. Bang, bang. There, order in the court.
That's
Now,
an awfully big cudgel you got there.
yes, I'd like to make an impression. Now, once our food arrives, we shall begin.
Yeah,
do-
well, Snurg, don't be in too much of a rush then. It took him like 3 days to fix a table in the lobby. Of course, the hole that we fixed for you, once again, another thing that, you know...
Save those conversations for the trial. There's no point speaking now if she's waiting till it starts.
Perhaps just some pleasantries then. How was your trip?
Oh, thank you for asking, Tanner. It was a little bit bumpy, as it always is. I don't like to make unnecessary ventures out of the hut, but sometimes needs must.
What
But,
duty called for you today?
Well, today, very astute of you, it was today, even though it feels like I may have been gone longer. I had to make sure preparations were in order.
Preparations?
Yes, I was thinking about going on holiday.
I didn't know you would have had time for such.
Well, no. Not when you have troublemakers constantly making more dilemmas the faster they can be solved. But I can only hope one day there is enough of a quiet that I can slip away. But it's very hard to find people to trust to stand in my stead.
Tanner's starting to look like he's
Lady,
regretted
Lady
asking.
Mora.
I-
Lady Mora does a great job of running the hut while you're away. She's nothing but obedient and quite knowledgeable and clever. You could trust her, certainly.
To some degree. But
How's she doing? Haven't seen her in a bit.
no, she's predisposed. She's getting everyone back into their station now that the shadow has been absolved.
That's good to hear. Excellent.
You can
answers
roll
my
an insight check if you want as
Yes,
well.
please.
Yeah, why
I
not?
was hoping there was going to be like a natural like dome of truth.
She's very cordial. And she seems to say this as if it was nothing more than small talk. But Tanner with an 18, let me just see here. Yep, same as the others. Very cordial.
Great.
And, yep. She's got modifiers, let's just put it that way. You don't know what that is. It could be persuasion.
Yeah.
But hey ho. Regardless, she does seem to like brush it off as if, she's just up to her usual.
If
Now,
you, I was going to say, if you don't mind me asking, where were you planning to go on your vacation? Anywhere nice?
she eyes you and raises an eyebrow. Oh, looking to perhaps find a destination for yourself, perhaps?
Oh, I've only been alive for about 4 days at this point, so it'd be nice to see some interesting places.
There's no better resorts than Guidean resorts. I must recommend those. They're they do all the gambling, traveling, eat like a king. Absolutely beautiful. Pricey, but
She says, I won't be going too far out. Not abroad, at least. Perhaps. Yes. No, I'll keep it to the closer inner place. But unfortunately, it's not quite ready. This place isn't one that you can always just waltz into. It is, of course, inhospitable for the likes of us. But once she stops for a moment, says, once my bags have been packed, hopefully the weather shall have eased up.
I was curious as well what sort of thing a powerful witch does on her vacation to relax. Do you camp? Do you stroll? Just nap with a book in a hammock?
Oh, I go hiking, my dear. I do a lot of sitting down in the hut, as you imagine, delegating and talking. I like to see the world and stretch my leg. These old bones do need their exercise. But you'll be surprised how much you can discover. There are many mysteries still uncovered, or, well, shrouded.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have thought of hiking, but if anyone can glean information from the wilds, I'm sure it's you. Such wisdom of the ages. Well, we could all do to follow your example.
Speaking of, I hear you had a little hike yourself. A little tumble into the Feywild.
We
How
did.
was your trip?
It was enlightening. I'd never been there before. It's a fascinating place, as I'm sure you know. Everything works differently there, rules work differently there, people, beings, magic, everything.
Dangers.
Quite a few dangers.
I
I'd love to
mean,
go back when we're less pressed for time.
I hated
Sounds
it.
like
It's a place of anarchy and chaos. Nothing makes sense. There's no rules. Lawless. No systems. No. It's a horrible place.
Hmm.
Enlightening for some, you could say.
Or perhaps the rules are just beyond your current understanding.
Adonis, I understand much more of rules than you do.
And
You
you
would have no
understand
idea.
nothing of the Feywild, whereas I
And
do.
that's enough of that.
Why
I'm
are you
sure-
always at my back?
Gentlemen.
No, Tanner, this is not acceptable. He needs to understand where he stands. He needs to understand what I can do and what the.
I know
Frustrate me
perfectly
here,
well
Adonis.
what you can do, but
Remember?
that
Stop.
doesn't mean I have any reason to
Eridanus,
agree with you.
Stop. You have been
you see her
part of this.
massaging her temples again.
You've been part of this
Oh,
group
you
for a
lot.
short time. Let us remain equal, especially while in the presence of Baba Yaga and I Eridanus. Because Ember's already been through this, this is kind of like you need to know your place right now.
Yeah,
Stop.
see, Mother, I'm not afraid at all right now because there's no possible punishment that you could dole upon me worse than having to travel with this one.
She grins from cracked cheek to cracked cheek and says, "Oh, you do like to make things exciting, don't you?
Absolutely.
We'll get to that. Oh, in fact, Snurg has arrived."
Oh, but
I was getting so hungry.
He comes around with plates and plates. He's kind of holding them all with this big web from one
Don't-
hand, and it's
Don't stumble now, Snurg. You look real foolish.
He's probably holding it. He's gone like onto the ceiling, right? And he's got like all the plates dangling from different like fingers. All the webs are kind of around the plates, like a I don't know what they call it, but it's like
Pendulum.
yeah, almost like a pendulum of web. But like the web isn't in the food; it's like underneath, like a net. There we go. Yeah. And anyway, he crawls across the ceiling, and as he does, you notice at this point there is a beautiful crystal chandelier that adorns this room, and he does well to actually avoid clanging into them. But you can't help but notice the dazzling multitude of reflections in the crystals, and as it kind of like reflects the little candlelight that's in here. And I'd like everyone to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh. Well, that's not good. I suppose I don't even know I'm making it, right?
No, you're just
23.
admiring the chandelier.
Dice, that's the one thing I'm good at.
oh,
Well.
naturally. Dia. I think it's only you at this point.
Yeah, I'm out of range of you.
So I get a +3. I get 26. Yo-ho.
Oh, I didn't actually see what you got.
Okay.
Mine's also a
Ember,
27.
Ember's got a 4.
Yeah,
Oh,
I,
no,
So,
it's
yeah,
I don't
okay.
do anything wisdom. I just don't do wisdom. Not
No.
my.
He's gonna be the
makes
rudest dinner
sense.
guest ever.
Stable. And Sunrith.
I've already started, Daya. I've already started.
We've noticed.
Okay. So, Daya, Tanner, you succeed. And yeah, for a moment you're just caught off guard just a little bit. These dazzling lights are so beautiful to behold. And everyone feels like no harm should come to such beauty and remarkable artistry. In fact, the same goes for much of Baba Yaga's hut. It is a masterpiece to behold, a marvel of science, magic, and yeah, and artistry. And you just find Baba Yaga to be a little bit more charming than usual. Tanner, you got a natural 20, and on top of this, you kind of shake your head off a little bit before kind of realizing the plate gonna like sit down before you, and you just feel a little bit dizzy for just a moment. It does wear off very quickly, but it feels similar to something you've experienced before when you were perhaps inside the fountain room. You remember feeling a sense of tranquility and peace
it's
within
the
it.
the passive.
Yeah, it was a
Pacifist,
pacifying
that's
like
what-
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every time you tried to get angry, it would simmer it down. Your emotions would calm within the
Oh,
fountain room.
thank
And
God.
you remember when you left the fountain room, you just had this kind of lightheaded
Mhm.
dizziness. Something was
Yeah.
mentally affecting you. Well, you kind of feel that here now. You're not sure if it's the same effect, but there definitely is one within here. And I will let you know it is the chandelier is the centerpiece of it.
So I just kind
Almost,
of. Oh God.
yeah, go on. I was going to say, as it kind of reflects around the room, it's almost as if that magic is reflected everywhere in the room, like the fountain's water would reflect the magic. It's kind of a way to basically hit everything in the room, like there's a radius of it. Anyway,
So I'll just kind of like look up towards the chandelier, look over to Baba Yaga, and just raise it, raise my glass to her, and just mouth the words "Thank you."
how dare you? Did you just say thank you? Or do you mouth it but you didn't speak it?
Oh,
That's like I'm putting up your middle finger towards her.
Oh,
Thankfully,
wait,
she's
is she
fairly-
Faye?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Thankfully, she's fairly distracted as a large plate of avocados are placed before Baba Yaga.
I quickly correct myself,
God.
and I will say gratitude.
You're not sure if she caught you out the corner of her eye, but she seems to have a smile on her face, a warm one, as if she's just been given like her favorite meal. And Snug, finally, after delivering the last plate, peels himself from the ceiling, lands on his feet. Would there be anything else from your boniness? Oh no, that's all, Snug. But stand by in case wine glasses need refilling. Also, he goes back over to the top corner.
Not too far, Snurg. Not too far.
I'll watch over, sir. And he just kind of has a little napkin folded over his arm. All right. So, she has this large plate of avocados and begins digging into them, like cutting up the actual flesh part of it, and says, "Now, you wish to be Senrath's defendant in this trial." Senrath says, I do not mean to be a burden on them. I did not ask them to do this. This is their own choice." Silence! You can talk when I ask you to talk. Now, should you prove successful in convincing me I will let Senrith walk freely. His service deemed fulfilled. His sentence is spent. If you fail to convince me, however, you can consider that you'll be going down with him, effectively.
Ugh.
Going down.
Eleanor speaks and says, "You don't mean to kill them, do you?" No, no, not kill them. Eleanor, don't be so uncouth. And take your elbows off the table. Oh, sorry. No, killing Zenrith would be causing more troubles than solving them, as already demonstrated. But speaking of that, should get to the cause and the root of it. I want to hear nothing but the truth. Now, article number 1. Zenrith, your unfortunate demise. How was this brought about exactly? You may speak. I broke. The balance in me was too much to bear. The torturous circumstance, the emotional state. I fell from grace, I suppose. Fell into darkness. Yes, yes. You wasn't murdered by any chance, no? He turns to the rest of you guys and says, "No, not in that sense. I guess you could say I was assisted, but I could have resisted. So the fault really, it falls to me." And he's gonna make the first persuasion check, trying to take the blame. And
Skill challenge.
we'll see how it goes. Persuasion versus.
Mhm.
Wow.
Oh, let's
Ready to
go,
start.
Senrith!
Ember,
Okay.
you just got saved.
Yep. He literally just took the blame for you in that moment. And she finally, as Senna's been saying this, you can see she's been like munching down on the whole avocado. And then finally there's this kind of like crack noise. And she pulls out the large nut that is on the inside of it.
Don't eat the
And
seed.
she places that almost in a specific place on the very far edge of the table on the right hand side of her, and says, as she's like gumming her, like fingering like her gum. She's like, "All right, nice. That explains how you suddenly unleashed your inner demons upon the heart. Well, it's a good job we had such, well, adept adventurers in our midst to bring that thing to a close. Did you how did you manage such a feat, may I ask?"
Well, we had assistance, and we persevered in light of incredible disadvantage by doing the proper amount of research, acquiring of necessary goods, and execution of strategy in against all odds.
Hmm.
Also, history repeats itself. Funny that we came to realize that.
This is impressive. I would ask to what's the... describe to me The moment in which Senrith returned, what did you see? What did you witness?
I'll leave that one up to Eridonis Tanner Diaz. He was a little sidetracked.
I can explain it from a more spiritual side. The actual physical side, I can't quite say as I was unconscious at the time, but my unconscious state may have proved to some extent our salvation. The shadowy side of Senrith seemed to have an unnatural fixation on myself, almost trying to either overwhelm myself or perhaps become one with me in some way. So I tried to use that and essentially pulled part of the darkness into myself, where I was consumed by my inner light, for want of a better word.
Does this coincide with what you experienced, Senrith? And he I should mention actually, she should say Twilight. She doesn't
Yeah.
refer to him as Senrith, but Twilight rather. My
Hmm.
own mistake. But yeah. Says, so, Twilight, does this match up? And he says, to some degree, yes. I will mention that my own cognition was heavily blurred at this point in time, but I will try to recollect what I can. I did indeed see Eridanus in my mind's eye. It was as if he was at the end of a tunnel. I was being pulled towards him. The shadow was chasing him, with meaning Eridanus was stuck in the middle. As I reached him, so did the shadow. I saw that there was a shadow within you, Eridanus, but one that seemed more darker than even it. Hard to describe. It was like a void. Then I tried to stop it from entering, but I was just a moment too late. The shadow did sort of submerge itself in that void, and the best thing I sought to do was perhaps try and envelop it, trap it before it could burst out again, this time perhaps from your body. So I used what little divinity was perhaps left in me to eclipse it. When that happened, I felt a sinking sensation. That void fell from you into me. It's now part of that shadow that is still trying to break out. I'm not sure if they are one and the same, or if they are both consuming each other at the same rate. I cannot say, but it felt like a base element had been pulled from you. I remember
Yeah.
the flashing light as I came to consciousness. Like my entire life was flashing before me, but no. No, more like the beginning of it and the end of it. The Alpha and Omega. And it seemed to just contrast between the two, back and forth, before it finally equalized. Don't know what that means, but it felt like I fused with something. Something you carried, but no longer have.
That would at least explain the change I felt, which was one of the things I wished to discuss with you, but I suppose that's at least answered some of my questions, at least. Though I don't know what this means for myself.
Intriguing. Your recollection is very detailed, and for someone who is already dead. Maybe you weren't dead, but being reincarnated. After all, it's not the first time you've been found dead. Had to bring you back myself. It's how you, when you awoke here in the hut. I remember a similar element that you possess, this void-like energy. But, surprising. I didn't think there was one for the void.
Pardon my interruption. You didn't think there was one what for the void?
Oh, element, chapter. There is this long folklore tale, sort of, so to speak, perpetuated through many of the ancients. Secret knowledge, I suppose, but passed down only when necessary. But it doesn't really change much, and nor is anyone even be able to seek them out, but supposedly there are embodiments of these elements. Each one, like fire, water, that sort of thing. One purest of them all, like a soul of it, let's say. A soul of fire, the soul of water. Supposedly they take a host. Didn't know there was one for the void, but it seems as though what you're describing is very much akin to that. They're called, I suppose, the planar souls, but they have many other names as well. Some say they're called the elements of a story. Regardless, it's not important, and it's not why we're here. Let us move on to the next article. And that is, of course, the whole letting my young daughter escape the hut. Eleanor kind of like looks up for a moment, says, I may have been rash. I may have been a little angry when I had to discipline you, Senrith. Or Twilight, rather. But you can understand. Losing one's daughter is... it's tragic.
Truly tragic, yes, absolutely.
I would have exiled you, but that would have been far too lenient. I wanted to make sure that you knew what you had done. And that what you did can only ever be fixed if Natasha returns to me and sits by my side once again. And she gestures towards the open, empty seat opposite Eleanor's.
That may not be up to any of us. If I understand things right, Natasha herself was the one who expressed a desire to leave. Senrith, as her protector, owed his loyalty to her first of all. And when she wanted to leave the hut, the way I see it, it would have been his sworn duty to follow her orders and give her what she needed most, which was an exit. And perhaps she'll come back, perhaps not, but she won't come back to you as unwillingly, as a slave, not how you want her. Now you may decide a punishment for Senris having divided loyalties, having to make a choice between the person he was protecting and the person he was protecting her for. It's not an easy choice, I imagine. In the end, he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
You see that she has been scoffing down another avocado as you say all this. And with those final words, I'd like you to make a persuasion check.
You got this.
Not a strength, not a strength. Oh
No, I
God,
can't
that
even
was
help you with
awful.
that.
Oh God.
I
She
can't
Wow.
help you with that.
finishes
Yep.
and pulls out the large seed on the center
Oh.
I told you.
and
I
places
told
it on the
you.
left-hand side of the table.
Oh, that was
and
pretty good,
says,
Sarah Jane.
Damn it. I tried.
"A slave? You dare say that my own daughter is a slave in her own home? I gave her all the love and adoration. I spent countless nights encouraging her, teaching her.
But
She may have her own lofty desires, but she has a duty here to her family. She should honor her mother. And I have a great deal of plans for her. A future. A bright one. Not one soiled with shadows. Like the ones she has been chasing after. She looks over towards Senris. No. Tasha is still young, naive. He does not know what is best for her.
But one day she will learn, once she has the proper time to understand what she has been given, correct?
That time had yet not come to pass, and her place is still by my side.
And it shall be returned. After all, we have some information that she might know of us, and so we are just in much keenness to find her as you are, and we are more than welcome to spearhead that investigation.
You're offering to go and return my daughter. You have information of her whereabouts.
Not by force. At least, not from me. We will speak with her. We can try to persuade her, but if she returns through anything other than her own choice and will, then she will not honor you. And you will not honor yourself. I think you know this. The best soldiers, and she looks at Knight as she says this, are not the ones who merely obey orders like servants, but the one who serve out of true desire.
Where is she?
Hey, you really done it this time, Tanner?
I demand to know.
I didn't say we had information. I said we were looking for her as well.
Okay. I am going to say that, Tanner, you can roll a perception check.
Fuck, not my strong suit. That wasn't my intention.
Can I
It is
sort of
I was
still a little
I was literally trying to avoid the question by just saying
Hmm.
we are looking
Oh,
for
I know.
her as well.
I know, but
I didn't say
Baba Yaga is incredibly insightful. And you got to imagine all the information she has isn't just stuff that she has seen and
It's
heard.
just a free failure. Oh fuck! Never
I-
mind. Wow. Okay.
I will. I
Okay.
will still bend luck on that.
Okay, go ahead.
I will add to that.
I'll take
Make
that.
it a 22,
Actually,
and I will
apologies.
bonus action convert my other 2 sorcery points. Or my others.
Actually,
Oh,
I wanted
sorry.
to apologize real quick, Ember. This isn't something you will be able to do. Not
Okay, no
whilst
problem.
you are under the effects of this chandelier.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
Tanner, you are not under the effects of the chandelier, and you are somehow managing to quickly correct yourself and quickly, uh, basically reinforce the idea that yeah, you only said that you were looking for her, not that you actually have where she is. And Vabia says, "Fine, but if you do find even a shred of information, you will bring it to me for my table. If you will not convince her, then I shall."
And I
Nick.
hope it's on equal terms between you. You are both adults in this situation, and I'm sure if what you're doing is for the best for her, she will respect your wishes. I truly do.
Okay. Yeah, so about the charm effect, like the chandelier. Okay. Effectively,
Yeah.
you're not
Like I might.
compelled to tell her the truth, but you are effectively charmed by her. Means you treat her as an ally, a close friend, and you are also in this place seated and to remain cordial. It's a similar pacifying like effect to the fountain, which means you can't just get up, table flip, and draw your weapons in the
Yeah.
dining room. There's
Okay,
this
so
kind
I
of
am.
general cordial like atmosphere that must remain.
So I am subject to the charm condition.
Yes, you are charmed.
Okay.
Um,
And well
but
charmed, I
that doesn't mean you're forced to tell the truth, right? It's not like, yeah.
well
It's
charmed, I am unable to. I'm kind of like
calm Baba Yaga,
sanctuaried.
yeah, or effectively try to. Um, you wouldn't lie to a friend normally, right? You wouldn't like
Oh.
try to. But Tanner, you're not under it. That's
No,
fine.
I was gonna say because
I'm fucked.
me and Dyer would have been fine anyway, because we're immune.
Yeah, I think you both passed, didn't you? You're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, but they're also immune due to the aura of devotion.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, yeah, that's well. Yeah, that's the one.
I got my auras back.
But
Fuck.
it doesn't extend it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I can't do half the shit I want to do with this fucking chandelier.
Oh,
And that's why
yeah.
you don't choose to sit at the head of the table.
Miserable.
Oh yeah, you chose to sit there. If you were
Ugh.
sitting next to your allies as equals, then you would have. Oh my god, that's too good. You can't write
I-
this stuff, guys.
Oh, I fucking hate everything.
It's
you
not too
hadn't have
late to
been
change
so-
seats, Ember.
Yeah.
It's
Want to point out, you don't know that you're under this charm effect
Of course
necessarily.
not.
You just see Baba Yaga as a charming individual. You are a servant to her. You treat her as an ally and friend. You wouldn't want to
Yeah.
necessarily lie to her. It doesn't mean you have to spill the whole truth all the time. She's not compelling you to suddenly tell her everything. But yes, I'm sure you had plenty of plans, but Baba
Yeah,
Yaga
they're all
has her
fucked.
way. So, okay. Regardless of your very compassionate speech, it seems she is dead set on returning Natasha to her side, no matter what. And but without the information, she is still stuck in a rut as to where she is.
Hmm.
She says, "If only we had someone powerful of divining where she is, perhaps we could still find her. But I hear Kesserat underwent a unfortunate fate. which is the next article. You lot are responsible for my chief diviner's death.
If I'm
Explain
quite,
yourself.
if I'm quite honest, he was actually, well, it was his hand that settled his fate.
He was beyond our help by the time we reached him.
He had attempted to divine something, and something was trying to reach through him, and it was not within our power to be able to stop that.
You could have subdued him. You could have knocked him unconscious at least.
Unfortunately,
The way I hear it,
he didn't leave
unfolded
much.
was quite volatile.
Unfortunately, he didn't leave us much of a choice. In fact, we do have a witness to, well, or he wasn't there, was he, Stony Man?
Well, we were tasked to
Yeah, he was.
intercept.
He was there. So we do have a witness who was there and saw the destruction that could have come from Kesrask.
Oh,
And I point to
I can
Sekiro.
attest to this. It was a do or die situation, quite literally. Tanner gave up his life, stopped the mad mind flayer from losing control and bringing whatever eldritch horror that was into this world. He said he'd become a harbinger.
Furthermore, we were tasked to assist with the Kesseraz situation by your most gracious lieutenant, Lady Mora. We would never ever dream of someone so royal as you. We would never cross willingly. We did what we could to assist you in this terrible situation. I above all. I use something of great importance of mine just in your service, in your name alone. I would never want such harm to come to this beautiful hut. It's wonderful. It's perfect. I could never build something so nice myself. You are truly remarkable.
I look to Ember and instantly know something's wrong.
I mean, Ember doesn't usually shy away from flattery to try and make his argument more convincing.
Yeah.
But
Just as a quick thing, Chris, when I got the thing that contains Kesra's mind, I know he asked me to protect it, but did he mention anything about Baba Yaga herself? And that was I meant to protect it from her as well?
Potentially, that's up to you and in your interpretation of that.
Yeah.
But he didn't specify Baba Yaga, but he did say protection, so that like perhaps no harm comes to it.
Yeah, in which case, Eridonis won't say anything. He won't lie, but he also won't say anything to add to that. I did have a potential thing, but I'm not compelled to do so.
And evidence is suggesting that you were the last one. She points to you, Ember. You delivered the killing blow as well. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I saw a situation that was of grave danger to the hut, and I did what I had to do to make sure that everything remained as cordial as possible.
And who do you suggest takes his place? I am now at a loss. A great one at that. Kesseras was a powerful wizard. I needed his skills.
Lady Whitaker certainly could, perhaps. Pardon me. Granny Whitaker could certainly fill in for the time being, maybe with some of Terig's tutelage in terms of the astrophysics of the whole thing. Yeah, maybe she has the divine powers. She may not have the intelligence of Kesserask, but Terig certainly could maybe get her there.
Whitaker sees the threads of. She sees the future, whereas Kesserask saw the plane, worlds beyond worlds.
Well, Kesserask definitely saw something that you should really know about. He saw harm to come to the hut. He saw of being a phlogiston of some kind of material between the place between the stars. It was described as some kind of entropy coming to fall between the cracks of the hut, which are something that we are tasked actually to investigate. Grave danger to the hut. It should be promptly examined and considered as a threat that you may. I don't say this lightly because you are infinitely wise and infinitely intelligent and infinitely all-seeing and incredibly beautiful. But you may not have seen this one, good friend. There is a trouble amiss in the hut. Void energies seeping to enter in some manner. I don't understand it all. It's still a little bit of a work in progress, but I'm doing what I can. You must understand, I am nowhere near as capable as you are.
Roll a persuasion check, Emma. As you've done most of the talking during this to convince her, and you were the one that killed Kesserask in the end. This makes only makes sense.
Under effect, I would not be considering of using any kind of bending luck, right? Like there's no
Uh,
tides of chaos, like that doesn't come into play with.
You could do on this one. You only
Oh.
mean to please Baba Yaga and remain in her service, so you would do everything in your power to do that. But
Okay.
the only other thing was with Tanner was
Yeah.
you wouldn't aid his
Nah.
deception, right?
Yeah,
Because
I'm not lawyering.
Yeah,
I will tides of chaos it. I'll go nuclear here and
you can do that.
roll with advantage. The 16. And then I will spend the 2 sorcery points to add to that 16.
Okay,
Get an 8. Yeah.
making it an 18.
And I will bonus
Okay.
action my remaining spell slot into 2 more.
Into 2 more. Okay.
Which leaves me with no spell slots. 2 sorcery points.
All right. Mm. Yes, I am well aware of the cracks. A topic we will, no doubt, move on to soon.
It's not just a crack.
Kesserask was one of a kind.
Unfortunately,
in-
that genius meant that he was also slightly out of control. That's what killed him, if you ask me.
Subject to chaos.
His
Eridanus,
curiosity overgrew his capability.
Eridanus, you actually know he is not one of a kind, which is actually kind of a funny thing for her to say. But you can either choose to speak that or not.
Yeah. As I'm assuming Kesserask can hear this conversation, is he saying anything to me at this point? Like, because obviously
he would actually. Just as Baba Yaga's saying, he was one of a kind. He's not something I can easily replace. As she says that, Kesserask does speak up and say, I would rather she not know of my true soul here. This is a potential out for me, if you will.
Eridanus, like, he's not going to lie, but he won't say much, but
say nothing at all.
Yeah. Well,
I would rather she believe I am dead and gone.
Yeah. Yep, that is fair. So.
But yeah. And he continues and says, still, I got what I needed mostly from him. He was just, I guess, taking up space. And after all, He failed in his duties. He was one of Natasha's tutors. He should have come to me sooner. He should have seen that the girl was thinking of ways to escape. He should have kept a closer eye on her.
Who would ever want to escape this wonderful hut? I would love to spend the rest of my life here. It's so beautiful.
I am
It's
talking,
incredible.
Ember.
I'm sorry. Pardon me.
She says. She says. But you are right, Ember. He was rather dangerous. At the end of the day, these mind flayers only want one thing and one thing only. And that is the domination of perhaps the whole world. They are mind slavers. They are dominators. They are obsessed with power and knowledge. And whilst they are good to have as allies, at some point they might think of themselves as too powerful, or perhaps more powerful than I. And we can't have them. And she places the finished avocado on her right hand side. Let that be a moral to you all. Don't get too cocky.
Oh, I would never do such a thing. I know my place and I know where I belong and where I stand, without question. Friend, we are very cordial and it's good to know you and good to serve under you as such a exemplary role model that you are.
Now, regrettably, I must bring up yet another awkward circumstance.
Oh, nothing is too far removed from good conversation.
You are responsible for freeing the Phoenix in the portal room.
And we're just gulps. If possible, kind of
Yes,
chokes on his wine a little bit.
Daya. We don't have a good excuse for this one.
Eridanus
Nope.
will just say, honestly, that was before I joined, so I'm hoping I'm not being
Yeah,
sort of
cheers,
grouped
bro.
with them on that.
Wow, wow. That's what
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do, not you. I want to.
Yeah, cheers, Eridanus.
Well,
Anus.
Just your water.
This one was genuinely an accident, as we needed to make it. But in fact, no. Sorry, scratch that because it wasn't, and I don't want to say that. No.
Yeah.
Retcon.
Are you okay,
Fuck that.
Tanner?
I'll let you record
Tanner's
it.
having a fucking
Yeah.
seizure in the
Yeah.
background.
Actually, add to,
Aneurysm there.
to actually add to Eridanus's words, he's actually going to say, sort of like, that was before I came, so unfortunately I cannot speak of that event. Yes, he can't. So he's just going to stay quiet.
Present your case then, everyone else. This was preordained. One does not simply accidentally sever the chains holding an elemental being that powerful. And you had assistance. Thorn Chainbreaker. He's the only one possible. Let me guess, you're going to pin the blame on him, aren't you?
No, I would actually like
Absolutely,
to rule him
I
out.
would never.
I would like to rule him out entirely. He was doing this as a favor for us. However, we
anything.
didn't really expect it to go
Wasn't a
through.
favor for me.
Well, it was in the process, because of course we needed to get past that thing to be able to find the Gauth.
I can be your Phoenix. Minus one Phoenix, plus one Phoenix. Look, I can do fire things, and I'll present my flames. See, it's wonderful. I can burn all kinds of things.
I don't suppose that you know where
Oh,
Phoenix would
Ember.
go in the material plane?
Oh, Ember, your flame is but a little spark compared to that volcano. That thing has just been unleashed into the material plane. I didn't keep it because I needed fire. I was keeping it so it didn't burn down the rest of the world.
Can I roll an insight? that seems too nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
It kind of does.
And Grizz says, I told you guys, see? I believed she was being nice this whole
You
time.
know, you're charmed, man. There's no way you wouldn't believe that.
I can still sort of try to understand her words because that seems
Aerodonus?
odd.
Yo,
She's
if I
telling
get
you
punished for
truth.
being charmed, you gotta be punished too, man. If I'm dealing with this shit, so are you.
Yeah, but I'm not lying. I'm just trying to understand the situation.
She's
Like, that doesn't
Aerodonus?
mean I'm going to call her up on it.
She is
I just
actually telling the truth. With a 24, her words are earnest, and she is not a tyrant. She's not a dragon who wants to burn the world, is she? She's a hag. She's powerful. She doesn't want to watch the world burn. What her motives are, truly, you're not sure. But it's definitely not destruction, which is exactly what the pure basest elemental fire is embodying. If anything, that's a kind of danger to her, a threat. And to keep it locked up and contained isn't just helping everyone else out, it does help herself out as well.
Yeah.
So it is self-serving, but it is also in a way protecting time. So yeah, she was being truthful. It really does have that unlock. Stop it burning.
That was really
Uh.
decent of you, and I apologize that we broke that. Do you know
Well,
where this?
Hey, you're probably going to be responsible for another Bromwell now.
This is something that I wish to avoid, as of course, well, all of our people are on the
Let's
plane
hope
of
it's not Weep that
material
gets
plane.
the attention of that fiery thing.
By any chance, could I request that you attempt to track this creature so we may take care of it and either bring it back, please? That's a request.
Oh, you're going to wrangle a phoenix. Did you say that right?
Well,
I
if
hear
it's
that
heading
from across
towards
the table?
wheat, then I'll do whatever's possible.
I wasn't threatening. I'm just merely theorizing. It could go wherever it will. Fire spreads in any direction it wants. Depends on the wind.
Absolutely.
also.
How did you manage to capture a phoenix in the first place?
A long, arduous process, but a series of hexes, ethereal chains to make sure that it's the soul of the fire was contained rather than the fire itself. Separate the two. Of course, killing it did no good. I would simply revert it back to an egg, where the
Of course.
fire would raise again, spread its wings, and the process starts over again. No, containing, chaining. That's the only way to stop a phoenix.
in which case would it be, in theory, possible if the phoenix being killed will just come back as an egg to kill it and then chain the fire before it grows?
Yes. If you can be swift enough, perhaps you can return the egg here. I can recast the hex to contain it. Do you really think you can capture or kill one, though? Your adventure is, well, certainly strong, but... Well,
Oh.
Eleanor speaks up and says, I believe they can do it. They are strong. Ember is a master of fire. He knows how to potentially tackle one.
Ember just smiled.
And if we cannot control it, there is always the option to extinguish it.
Nothing
Temporarily.
extinguishes the flame of a phoenix for long.
No. But
Still, your willingness to correct your mistake is admirable. I'd like one of you to roll a persuasion check. It's going to be flat, because I know you're all chipping in to try to aid each other, but it was already a disadvantage to begin with this one, so I'm just going to allow it to go flat.
Not me.
Who's
and
one
not
of
it.
you? Like, which one of us?
My persuasion's a +1.
Mine's phenomenal, but I don't know if I have the option to roll on this. I don't know who's. I wasn't really involved in the conversation.
Doesn't seem as much. So I'd say Eridanus or Tanner, you can roll. I think
you're
you
probably
spoke
more
last time, Eridanus.
Get
Okay.
Tanner to do it.
Okay,
Can
Tanner can do it.
if it has to be me, am I able to cast guidance on myself?
Matic. She would see it, but you can risk it, I guess.
I mean, it's not like I'm manipulating her. I'm just making myself more persuasive.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Oh god.
Oh, sorry.
It doesn't matter. But the
6
dice.
is
Yeah.
definitely not going to cut it. Okay. You did put forward a good case. It does feel like you didn't have a good excuse, but like she did say, you're admirable, at least in trying to convince her that you'll try to make up for it and return it. You're being like repentful rather than obstinate or stubborn in your defense. So she sees this. However, she doesn't seem to. In fact, she just says, "Yes, yes, your willingness to go out and do this is admirable, but I'm afraid it's beyond your capabilities. This thing flies ridiculously fast, and I don't see any of you sprouting."
Well, what do you
Yeah.
suggest? We'd like to help. It was our mistake. If we're not capable of catching it, who is?
The best thing you can do right now, Daya, is prevent the rest of these idiots making further mistakes. And she's gonna place her fourth avocado.
No. How many are on the
on
plate?
on
Oh my
left-hand
god.
side.
I can't tell. I can't tell how many are in the plate.
Yeah.
It's
Too
There's a
many.
few- as many as there are topics to talk about.
right.
I will have to deal with it, setting back my plans even further. This is what I mean. I just can't get my holiday when all of this shit is going on. Ah,
And perhaps if we cannot help with that task, perhaps we can help with another to speed up part of your process.
as you say,
Well, perhaps
speed
we've
up.
already have helped you with something. We took care of the blight. It was efficiently destroyed. Daya was quite clever in stunning it.
We got lucky
Yes,
with that one. But
And I
yes.
rewarded you for such a deed. You have your magical items. That was in the past. Now, the articles which are yet unresolved. What do you hint at, Eridanus? Speak true.
Oh, this is actually. Well, the first thing would be I would imagine that these cracks in the hut are perhaps causing at least some danger to your plans, and as we've been tasked with investigating them, by doing so, won't that help your plans?
Hmm. Oh, and as you said, like speed up. During that last sentence, you can see there's a little bit of whirling sand besides the chair of Dire, and it seems to be swirling faster and faster until it reaches up into almost like a small little tornado here.
Well, has
And
has it
of
been
course,
doing that the whole time?
no, it just appeared, and of course, in its place, Terig, the wizard time mage here, appears and says, "Apologies if I am late, Witch Queen. I have been studying the leak." And he hovers over to the chair and sits down. "No, as it happens, you're just in time as usual, Terig. It has just been brought up." "Ah, excellent. Snug, I'll have a fine malt wine, please." "Yes, sir." Goes out, comes back in a minute. "Oh, no, please make it the 1407 here, please. Yeah, okay, sure. Good deal. Yeah, sure. Alright, so Tarek looks around the room. You can see a lot of you are like sweating beads potentially from that last topic. And he says, "Right, then onto the article at hand. The hut. There is a leakage. Its energies or power is somewhat draining. Just not good. We thought at first it was the room inside Natasha's chambers. Lodovik's breath, the portal to the blind eternities. But upon closing that up and monitoring the level, I can confirm that is not the cause of this leak. Still remain out there. Something, or maybe even someone, is still siphoning energy from the hut. Hmm.
Who would do such a thing to this beautiful place?
Who indeed?
Who would have the power to do such a thing?
She turns to the side and looks towards night and says, Tarek may be a late arrival, but we still have a no-show from Dr. Geralt. He's been rather busy in his little reanimation chamber. What did you actually go for him? Or did you get sidetracked bringing the whole clown fiesta here? Knight turns around and speaks plainly.
Says, he has barricaded himself inside the halls of reanimation. I tried to enter, but seems he has that place locked down. Flesh golems and electrified zombies now guard its entrance.
I hate to say it, but it's starting to sound like another one of your subordinates.
Yes.
Late subordinates, I should say.
We don't know if this was perhaps under your orders or not, but we do know that he was attempting to remove things from the Bone Museum and take them to his halls.
What? No! My Bone Museum! At
We had
Togeda's setting.
a number of animated skeletons, and these new servants appeared to be gathering resources to make more of themselves.
The beholder skull, unfortunately, was smashed by me, but absolutely unintentionally. I would never break something of yours on purpose. It's just that we tried to stop them, and they fumbled it as a fireball struck them. It was quite inconvenient.
There are, however, a number of bones from the museum that survived the conflict. I don't know if they're still there, but they were in the menagerie last we saw them.
No more further bones have been taken from the Bone Museum. The rest are being guarded now. Now that the Shadow Beast is defeated,
Absolutely.
other minions can be returned to their posts.
Curses.
As a further indication of this, some of Geralt's zombies did attempt to attack Agatha as well.
That's
in the guest
unusual. It's safe to say that Dr. Geralt has declared war on the hut. As such, I'm authorizing full force to break open that damnable door of his and bring him to heel.
Do you know
He
what
has-
his intent was with the project he was working on before he grew independent? Was he just experimenting with creatures?
His duty is to provide guardian for the hut,
Hmm.
but he came to me. I by no means hired him out of want, but he begged and pleaded. Ugh,
He is attempting to have Grizz as some kind of prototype, some kind of a human machine experiment. This is how Grizz became what he is.
He is also in charge of creating an army. I've heard about your little return, Chris, but I suppose you haven't figured it out yet. Perhaps when you confront him this time, you might actually get to the bottom.
That was actually one of the next tasks on our list after dealing with the shadow beast that was Twilight, was to see what Dr. Geralt was up to and try to deal with it.
Very well. I will place this in your charge then, as you're so eager.
We would be
You-
happy to do this one for you.
I will do whatever it
Strike out.
takes to protect this hut.
Strike out of the halls of reanimation, and, yes, expunge any forces that have gone haywire, any experiments that have gone out of control.
Understood. And perhaps, as these are undead, it might be useful to have, and we don't know how many there are, it might be useful to have all the help we can get. And if Twilight here has any divinity left in them, then that would prove a useful asset, surely.
We have yet to finish deciding his. She picks up the next avocado and says, speaking of subordinates gone rogue, the next agenda, Jaden Thull. I see that Zankiri has got a new employer here, but Jaden Thull was Eleanor's guardian. I placed specifically him to protect her. And Eleanor, you've already explained all the circumstances surrounding it, but I want to hear it from their mouth.
Well, I'm assuming. Oh God.
You once again killed him, or rather petrified him, without so much of a explanation. As far as I'm aware, the only crime he has committed so far is in protecting Eleanor to the utmost and, well, possible power he had in him. Which is, by the way, no crime. Just in case that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Um,
petrified him. Why?
Quite clear, Mother. Quite clear. Your
Well-
words speak reason.
Were you aware of his demonic nature when you hired him to be within her presence at all times?
Let's roll a d20 and
Oh.
find out whether Baba Yaga was indeed in the know of this. 1 to 10, Baba Yaga had no idea. 11 to 20, she knew the whole time.
Oh, come on, come on.
No!
Yep.
The tides of fate.
Oh, damn it.
I don't know if I can.
Roll. It's not
Yeah.
even worth that. I'm just rolling to determine whether she did or didn't. Because it was never a plot point that I had actually yet decided until this
God.
very moment. And when a glint in her eye sparkles, the fates shift into this alternate timeline, and she says, "Yes, I'm aware he was a horned devil. One of a rune-scarred nature, probably sent from the Nine Hells themselves. But
A beautiful gift.
powerful A powerful guardian, no less, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, it was quite the undertaking for us to defeat him.
But Herodonis is going to be completely honest here.
He tried to keep it a secret from me, though. It was amusing. But I have an eye for these types of things. And she does actually point up towards like old, ancient-looking eyes, big wrinkly bags hanging from underneath them.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Go on, Eridan.
Yeah. And this feels bad throwing Shelter under the bus, but it's kind of putting the story through rather than trying to lie about it is kind of what we do. As part of our plans to try to subdue or defeat or rescue Twilight, we needed a certain item that was in Shelsa's possession, and unfortunately, the only way she would give that to us without a fight was to help aid her in petrifying Jaden to add to her art collection. And with, of course, petrification not being fatal by any means, and something that you could undo, or someone here can likely undo, it seemed a fitting way to get what we needed, if only temporarily, so that we could deal with the Shadow Beast problem. And as you can see, thanks to Ember here, we have at least put in a replacement bodyguard for Eleanor.
It cost me 2 platinum bars.
Yeah.
That's every day.
He may not
very
be
expensive.
He may not be as powerful, but he is loyal.
Far less rude.
You present a good point, and at least you have more of a foot to stand on than you do with Keseras. You just killed him outright. Petrification can indeed be undone. However, in the lapse of protection, whilst this chaos was afoot, Eleanor came under attack. She nearly lost her life. That would have been unforgivable.
We were there to intercept the clone of Sinvala that descended upon her. An awful thing, this clone. I'm very curious as to why there is this clone, and it's quite unusual.
You always make this so difficult for me, don't you? You cause the problem, but then you're there to fix it at the same time. I really
Well,
just
perhaps
don't know
we did
what
not
to
cause
do
the
with you.
problem.
Well,
I would never cause a problem for you. I would
killed
never
Senrith.
dream of doing such a thing.
We killed Senrith, unleashed the entire menagerie, and then mopped up the menagerie, and then you unveiled Jaden Thal, but then also come to the protection of Eleanor when this shadow Natasha shows up.
Well, Elena is beautiful, like you, Mother. Of course I would protect her.
Did you just call me beautiful?
That is so smooth.
The glint in your eye, the paleness of your.
My table once again, and I will have you, flayed, cooked, melted. Wait, no, that sounds useful for a fire genasi. Frozen, yes. You'll become one of my
No, crazy, Mother.
There we go. Now, she says, this is a mess of a situation. Suppose the only thing left to do is question Jaden himself.
I don't think we should bring him back. He can stay there, and he's so wonderful. He's such a wonderful addition to this beautiful hut in statue form. He's so pretty in the bathhouse. He looks.
I was actually thinking if you did decide that he needed to remain as a statue, that he could make an interesting water feature if we set it up right.
Absolutely, Eridanis.
I am curious what his little machinations were here in the hut, but I could tell his intent was to protect Eleanor at all costs. Anyway. He did not do anything wrong. You guys did kill him. Now I'm left with
Well, he wouldn't let me talk to
a
Elena.
guardian. Zankiri's like kind of looks insulted. Oh, come on. A horn devil is far more powerful than a single Earth Genasi.
I would never suggest that I would hire someone not fit for duty. Zankiri is definitely capable of keeping Elena in great hands. She is wonderful. I would never dream of replacing a terrible guardian with one even worse. That would be ridiculous. He was awful. He wouldn't let me talk to her. He wouldn't let me in the room. He was manipulative and cold. Admiral traits, I suppose, but in a guardian. But at the same time, he was interfering with her growth. So he was.
Chris
He
speaks
was-
up. Yeah, whereas Zankiri's just motivated by money, so at least you know where you stand with him.
Precisely,
Chris.
Chris.
He is
Thank you.
less likely to be as duplicitous as a devil might be. Providing he's paid.
She taps her fingers on the table and finishes biting into an avocado.
Oh no.
I think Eridanus definitely made a good case. Ember's probably the sprinklings on top, but one of you can make a persuasion check.
An Ember make the roll because he's more likely to succeed.
He can. I'll allow this to be with advantage because this time Eridanus is aiding you, and the circumstances are a little bit on your side in that Jaden Thor was indeed someone trying to subtly infiltrate the hut, and you kind of did more of a good thing than a bad thing. Eleanor was in danger, and that could have been fatal. That would have been no persuasion check. That would have been you guys are the hut
Yeah.
campaign would have taken a wildly different direction if that had have
Or it
happened.
just straight up ended.
Ye-
I've-
Well, it's a good thing then that Ember installed another guardian and that.
yes, and that you guys
So
actually were there
19.
to protect a 19. All right.
I'll blow the last 2 sorcery points.
Oh, okay.
to get it
Make
to
it a
19.
19.
Nice. All right. She spits out the avocado shell, the seed, and catches it in her hand and places it onto the table on the right side. She cricks her neck. Right. Sankiri. Lady Mora will inform you of all of the details. But Eleanor is to be under strict watch at all times, 24/7. Do you understand this? He nods. Good. You will be like a statue by her side, which won't be too difficult for an Earth Genasi. But I don't
Racist
want...
joke.
Ember just laughs a little bit.
Aradonis
Dia
just doesn't say anything.
cringes a little bit. Not sure that was
No.
okay.
Yeah, it was a little bit on the nose. He says, well, she kind of looks down at the table. I think, despite the chaos that has wrecked through the hut,
Horrible chaos.
it's something I am akin to, usually riding the wave of chaos every day of my life. But it appears as though you're perhaps more advantageous than a detriment. Still, I'm sure this won't be the last time we have our little chat.
I absolutely hope not. It's wonderful to talk to you. I look forward to the next time that we can gather and enjoy supper together. This is most delicious pork, and this wine. Oh my! Did you make it yourself? Is it your? Is it the 1407? Most
Sure,
most
yes,
most
yeah.
gracious.
Uh, don't drink too much, Ember. You have a job to do now, remember?
No, absolutely not. And I spit it out.
Though, uh, she says, "Oh, now, Daya, you've got something that belongs to me, but at the same time, belongs to you. Oh,
I think I know what you're referring to, and I don't see how it belongs to you, with respect.
because Una traded those stars for the services of Dawn. Our bargain. When you first arrived here, we made a deal. In Jane, for the stars of Feywild, I would give her the light to bring on a new dawn, ending the threat of the Fomorians raising themselves to the surface.
You did
Seems
indeed. Yeah.
that gave them even more. I gave them
And
you, didn't I not? You're servants of mine, and you aided in ending the war.
we aided in ending the war. I'm not sure it was in your service, per se. If I may quibble with the terms a little bit.
Well, everything I do, Daya, is in her service. She's wonderful. She's very helpful. I aim to please the mother herself, above all else.
Needless
We
to
know.
say, that a pact had been broken by an archfey, no less. Now, not necessarily blaming her. The stars came back into her possession due to a previous adventuring group who thought themselves clever.
Well,
They
it
are
was
the
never.
ones responsible for stealing back the stars, giving them to Una, who then gave them back to you. And now they are back in the hut. Very strange the way that all occurred. But regardless, I understand. When you came to me, you asked if I could restore the magic to your people. You have in your hands the means to do such a thing. All you really require is my permission.
I'm not sure I require even that. With respect, I asked for your help, and you asked me to prove myself before you would grant it. The fact that I was able to get that help without your intervention was entirely a coincidence. Indeed, we would never have been in the Feywild if we had followed your instructions. So, well, it's been it's been somewhat serendipitous that I've ended up with the means to help my people and this valuable object, and I intend to restore the magic to the world as it was meant to be. But I'm not sure that you have any claim to this anymore. You lent Dawn to Una. Una gave this to me.
I
I'm
think
happy.
you're maybe confused that this does
Please,
belong to me.
if I'm happy to listen to an explanation of how that's so.
The elsewhere flask stood here in my chamber. It was used in the astral hall. When you arrived, you found the astral hall dark. Someone had stolen the flask from me, from the hut. They stole it and delivered it on to Una, thinking they were giving back what was owed to her, unaware of the bargain struck. I do hate repeating myself. Una gave up the star. She traded them for Dawn. It was a fitting transaction. Stars for the sun. Now, yes, circumstances are strange. They have indeed landed back in your possession. But that, what you're holding, is still a stolen item from mine. And Dyer, at this point, you begin to remember that what you've witnessed in the vision, you remember your elven god. You remember Corellian saying that the stars were stolen almost from him, and you also recall everything that Kesserask said, and I hope you remember what exactly he said.
Oh, Lord. You may need to prompt me. He said a lot.
He mentioned that Baba Yaga was the one stealing from the star in the first place, or he hinted at very much, and you kind of gathered the fact that something was draining that star, and when it passed through the Feywild, it kind of slowed right down, and it never made it out the Feywild. Almost as if it got kind of ground to a halt, when what it's supposed to do is be brimming with the mana of the Feywild, and then pass on into the material plane and sort of deliver that magical essence onto its people, basically granting the elves their Fey ancestry. But something was draining that. Something stopped that from occurring. And it was heavily hinted that it would have potentially been Baba Yaga. After all, her hut sits on that ley line between the material plane and the Feywild, where your star would have had to cross over. But whether you want to, I'm only reminding you this out of game because it's your option if you whether you want to confront her on that as a means to try and claim your right to the stars, or if you want to hold that back in case of angering her and potentially revealing something at the table. But yeah, and instead stick with your prior defense. But she does seem to be very persistent on her claim to the stars, saying that they were a bargain with Una. So your call on whether to bring that up or not. I'll leave that in your hands.
Actually, I have a point I could bring up myself if you don't want to bring that up.
I'm happy to bring up this confrontation now. I think this is something that Dia has been considering for a while. I'm not sure what Eridanis has to say about all that, but she will say the stars belong to the night. They belong to the sky and to the material plane, the comet included, and I'm not sure what arrangement you and Una had. Una was meant to gave me the stars so that I could restore them to their rightful place. And I don't know, and this is a lie, I don't know why they weren't in their rightful place to begin with. That's not my concern at this point. My concern is to bring back the natural order. And that has nothing to do with you or me or Una or anyone else. It's putting things back in their place. None of us own the stars. I'm sure you'll agree.
She begins stroking her long, pointy chin as you say this. And the very Fey learned thing that you learn in the Feywild is like, yes, the Fey seem to embody different natural domains, but there's no such thing as ownership over them. To own the water, to own a bountiful tree, it doesn't make any sense. There's bounty plenty in the Feywild for all to share in. The
Yes.
abundance of life and nature is one that cannot be, owned, cornered off. But she does seem to continue to consider this over and over, mulling it in her head. I'd like you to roll a persuasion check with advantage, die. Could you make a good case? Well, thank God it's not a one.
Think. Okay. Well,
With
13.
advantage. Okay, 13. She's still a little bit on the wall. She says, "This is quite the predicament, I will admit. There are no clear yes or no, but Dyer, my business with the Elsewhere Flask, with Una and Dawn is now concluded. I am not saying you cannot have the stars. They are yours. You may return them to your people. The stars should be put back in their place. But I would hope that you show some respect to this gracious act of mine, that you may return, and I will even aid you. I will take the hut to the doorstep of your tribe. I wish that our relationship stays a good one. I hope that your work here does not yet end. Our agreement may change. But what I would like to do is have you come back to the hut after you have returned the stars. You will have fulfilled your mission, your duty given destiny now, wouldn't you? I have a destiny for you as well, Di. A new horizon for you to embark on.
I'm willing to renegotiate the terms of our original agreement since, well, I'm not sure that what I expected to get out of the bargain was not what I received. And most of my success has been despite your assistance rather than because of it. But I have other business here in the hut, and I'm happy to renegotiate the contract. If you will let me uh, freely release the stars back to my home, then yes, I will sit down with you, maybe another time, and we can talk.
I have my own stars I am searching for, you see. I was hoping that you'd be willing to help a friend once I help you. And She turns to Tarek and says, "We can spare some of the power. We are going to take the hut directly to the house grave." Tarek takes a nod, says, "I will make preparations immediately." He kind of steps up from the chair.
Can I
Says,
insight check Baba Yaga to figure out
yes,
what plan or what she's talking about here?
yes, you can.
Ooh, that's a 20.
With everything Faye, it seems as though their metaphors are both figurative and literal.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking for her own stars. What that could mean, you're not sure, but you gather that it's some kind of light or hope or some sort of magically illuminating force. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems the way she said it, it sounds as though everything here has been amounting to it. And it also kind of coincides with what she was saying earlier about like a holiday, um, a destination that she's looking for, a place to go. But that's that's all I'll say with the 20. It's not mind reading, but you do pick up on the fact that it is the culmination of things here.
Okay.
That isn't just a side joint, it's not just a mini quest for you to go fetch something for her. It is
Mm-hmm.
the thing she has been working on.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
she wants your help with it as a potential friend. And also, I will say with the 20, he was very much restraining to sort of word it in the way, meaning like you owe me. She wants to try and remain friendly and keep it like she realizes it's better to manipulate you by going, you're a friend, rather than say, yeah, you owe me one, because that just feels resentful. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and Daya is not into that. Daya does not believe that she owes Baba Yaga anything at
Exactly.
this point.
Which is why she has
So,
completely avoided saying that word and instead said, hope that you respect the graceful act and reciprocate in a friendly manner. She's helping you. Could you help her? That kind of thing. So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah. I
that's
will be on the fence about that, but we'll
yeah.
consider it.
That was a good insight though,
Yeah.
and a
All
good
right.
moment to ask.
Yeah, yeah, more interesting. Interesting.
So with that, Tereg begins to wisp away once again, and it seems as though she's finished all of her avocados at this point. The last one remains in the middle, literally smack bang in the middle, because it seems as though, yeah, this whole ordeal with the stars has been one that is directly on the middle of the fence, as to which way it falls. And I guess it will depend on how the next set of negotiations go. Overall, it seems as though you did win out on this one, and Babiagus says, "Right, if you'll excuse me, you may continue to dine here within my house, but this court is adjourned, shall we? Now, as for you, Senrith, you are still under my service, but you are free to do one of two things. You can pursue Natasha, but I doubt you will want to bring her back. So I trust you more with the second, which is to remain here in the hut and aid these fine adventurers in expunging the undead and bringing Geralt to heal." And he thinks for a long moment, a long while, and you can see from this side of the chair, Eridanus, that he is still gripping a hold of the diadem, and he pockets the diadem, and it's almost as like he's perhaps replaying the words of Ember in his head. when Ember said to let her go, and that it was a fool's chase to continue looking for her. It's evident that Natasha left him and didn't even come back for him either. Maybe it's a tough pill for him to swallow. Maybe his love wasn't all that, but regardless, in the end, he speaks up and says, "I owe each of these my life, and possibly more because of their words here today and the actions they did to not just stop that thing, but bring me back. So I'm going to help them, and I will be happy to serve you once again, Babby." He stands up and takes a deep bow. Good, excellent. In that case, chop chop, get to it. Daya, when you are ready, I will have the hut moved to the House Greyfuck. If you wish to talk to your people then, or now, I will let that be your decision.
Well, I don't see any reason to hesitate. We could head there right away if it's not an inconvenience. That would be much appreciated.
Of course.
I do hope you will entrust us with a cloud key, or me with a cloud key, so that I can return to the hut.
Ah, yes, of course. Here, you can have Lady Mora. She slides it across the table.
Well, that's not worrying at all.
Dia will snatch it up and
That's not
Okay.
good. That's not good
uh,
at all.
thank you.
Tarek
That's
returns
very
in a
good.
flurry.
That's very good.
I want to almost end it on that cliffhanger, but Tarek does return and says, "All right, the hut has been is transporting from the elemental plane of Earth to to the material plane now." Then Kiri's like, "Wait, we're in the elemental plane of Earth? Yes, some strange anomaly have been affecting the teleportation." Yeah. So we will. I mean, we could wrap it up there if you want.
I did just have one last thing
Okay.
because
Yeah, that's
obviously,
cool.
so Eridanus was speaking. Excuse me if I'm perhaps speaking out of turn, but once we have dealt with the undead problem, I realize the others may have some sort of purpose in the hut beyond that, but I feel that I at least owe you something for the hospitality I have taken, perhaps unbidden since I arrived. So I was wondering what you would have me do once this is over with the undead situation.
Very astute of you. Error done.
Yes.
Hmm. She thinks for a long moment as she's getting up out of her chair. She's sort of standing behind it, her hands kind of clawed over it, like a spider's legs dangling over the edge. She's kind of like tapping them. She's thinking to herself, and I'll need to think of that as well myself, because Eridanus's skills and could be put to use in a number of different places, and I'll have to think on that myself in what Baba Yaga
Yeah.
is gonna want from you or what you can do for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me a week to think on that one, which is a perfect time to sort of end it, I think. But when we return next week, Daya, you will finally complete your quest. That the hut is
Yes.
in motion right
Oh, I'm
now.
so happy. I'm so excited. This is, yeah.
The moment you've been waiting for, and I love the whole interaction. I love how the story went, and I didn't see it going this way. Like when you first came to the place, the hut, I was thinking like, what can Baba Yaga ask of you, and how can she pay you back? And I don't know. It's crazy how the circumstances happen. It's not an
It's
easy,
it's
clear
spiraled so
one.
out of control. This is not.
It
I
has.
had not planned any of this at all. Like this level of complexity and involvement. I was just like, I don't know. She needs to go to the witch. What for? Who cares? Like,
The way you worded it was really good. Yeah, I can't top that in the way this kind of it's all played out and how you asked her for help, but then you ended up kind of accomplishing what you needed by circumstance of meeting Baba Yaga and using her portal to go to the Feywild, Una back again, getting your own flask, and then her still having a claim to it. It's all very weird, and I didn't see it playing out that way, but it's cool how it has, and yeah, great.
well,
Is it going to be?
I've been thinking about it for a while because yeah, like the bargain that she struck with Baba Yaga is that she would give her service in exchange for Baba Yaga's help.
Mm,
Baba Yaga has not helped her at all. She apart from letting her stay in the hut, but she
yeah,
hasn't provided any insight, any tools. She was
no,
like, "Oh, go ask Kesseras, go ask Turig,
yeah,
go kill Helidus or whatever."
right,
And she Daya has been thinking about this for a while now, and is has been growing a little bit resentful. So
yeah.
yeah, we're not
When
gonna
you first
let
came
that
here,
go easily.
you was a different character from when you first entered the hut. Like so subservient, so
Mm.
respectful of her, and yet at the table today, you literally almost basically stood up to her and said, I don't owe you, and I don't need your permission. It's great to see how Dyer has like taken that mantle and really owns it now.
Mm.
You've become quite a strong-willed character, I feel.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm enjoying it.
yeah,
Uh, it's been quite the evolution because I didn't have much of a personality for her when she first came beyond,
mm,
yeah, obedient, duty driven. She does what she's told. But I think being in the hut and seeing, I mean, that's part of being at the hut, seeing all these characters too, right? Like
mm,
they all have their own agenda. Nobody says what they really mean. Nobody gives away anything for free.
yeah.
It's a completely new sort of a world of politics that she had not anticipated, and she's kind of
Well,
learning to negotiate that. But
I look forward to
regardless, I'm
uh,
so excited. I've got a
yeah,
cloud
the
key.
next
I've got a
episode
flask. Yeah.
when it's going to come to not a conclusion, but it's going to come to a definite like uh, point in the campaign, like a milestone. There you go
Mm-hmm.
for Dyer, and then
Yeah.
straight afterwards, we're going to move on to basically Grizz's milestone in finally dealing with Geralt. That's coming to a heading. Uh,
Yes. That's going to be
Also
fun too. That's going to be satisfying.
introducing what Eridanus brings to the table, literally,
Mm.
and then following that, Amber, Tanner, still. I mean, Tanner's definitely had a huge milestone recently with returning Senrith back for sure.
Oh
But
yes.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then we'll see where Ember's milestone lies. Because oh man, maybe you've got to go wrangle a phoenix. That'd be crazy. What a better way to
Yeah,
master fire than create a I
not
don't know, a
my not
prison.
my not my intended target to
No,
capture, but
for sure.
I was definitely aiming for a different kind of fire being. But yeah,
I
if
know. I know. Well, there is still a couple of rooms in the hut are yet to be explored. I say this every time, but hey, there is still more in the
yeah,
place. Um,
for sure.
maybe Baba Yaga will move on to that afterwards, but there's still plenty to uncover and get to. So anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you very much for watching Baba Yaga's Dancing Hut. We are going to sign off here and tune in next week for some awesome milestones and slaying of the undead, restoring magic to elven tribes. Yeah, it's all happening. All right, see you then. Bye bye.
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 Adios. Wolper Story Friday.